What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Caden, or Cantina Comics, and today I put together every live-action superhero suit ranking that I've made so far. By the time you're watching this, I will be in New York City spending some time with my wife, and with that being said, these rankings were filmed over the last couple of months, so most of my shirt, hair, and lighting in the background, as well as background a little bit, will change. With it all being said, grab some food, sit back, and enjoy this marathon. And to kick off our first superhero ranking, we have every single live-action Spider-Man suit. But with all that being said, let's start off in last place with Tom Holland's Night Monkey suit. Now, this suit was solely created just to sell toys, and I hate everything about it. To some people, this might not be the worst suit, but to me it is. It makes zero sense to have this in the film, especially since the whole point of it was to hide the fact that Spider-Man is in Europe and not in New York. But he makes a new suit at the end of the film, and we see him in London with this new red and black suit, so it almost entirely defeats the purpose, and like I said, it was only made to sell toys. The one thing that is nice about it, though, is the flip-up lenses, but overall, this suit is kind of terrible. There is one more thing that I like, though, and that is that the suit kind of looks like it's a shield suit, meaning this looks like something that Hawkeye could wear during the Battle of New York if he really wanted to, and it wouldn't feel out of place. But for Spider-Man, I don't like this at all.
A little tight around the old web shooter.
If you're new around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're very quickly approaching 1,000 subscribers, and my goal is to hit that by the time that Lanterns releases at the end of August. Next, we have the homemade suit from The Amazing Spider-Man. The only reason why I'm putting this above the Night Monkey suit is that we actually have a mask here. It's not perfect, it's not great, but we still have an actual Spider-Man mask, and that's really about it. I know that I'm heavily biased against the Night Monkey suit. I just think this one is better than it. Although I wouldn't want either of these to last longer than a few minutes, which they really didn't. Moving on, we have the Japanese Spider-Man suit from 1978 with the show that they had made. This suit honestly might be a little ahead of its time. I really love the Ditko-inspired Spider-Man logo, but that's really about it. We have the red and blue, which is nice. The eyes are way too squinted for me. And also we have the silver bracelet on his wrist, which functions as his web shooter. And Spider-Man in the show used an SMG, so it was definitely out there. Along with that, Spider-Man had a giant mech suit named a Leopardon. I don't know why this was here. It reminds me a lot of Jet Jaguar from Godzilla, but this suit is definitely heavily dated, and it's 1000% a product of its time. I also forgot to mention that the Japanese Spider-Man has a car that turns into a flying car and lands inside of the mech suit, which is kind of insane, especially for the 70s.
地獄からの使者スパイダーマン
Alrighty, next we have the Spider-Man suit from the 1977 US television show. Right off the bat, the eyes on the suit look really weird, but weirdly enough, I kind of like them. But with the lenses we've gotten now in live action, I would not want these at all. And the Spider-Man logo kind of looks like an amalgamation of Steve Ditko's suits as well as John Romita Sr.'s, and I kind of like it. We also got the classic blue and red, and once again, he has this silver bracelet on his wrist for his webs, which I really don't like at all. One cool detail is, though, he has a belt here, and it looks sick. Although for me, if there's gonna be a belt, it should be underneath the shirt. As well, he's literally just wearing boots that are painted red with the black webbing on them, and for the time, I'm sure the suit looked great. For what it is, I like it, but I cannot put it any higher on this list. Next, we have Tobey Maguire's unused suit from Spider-Man 1, and then behind the scenes, we got to see the suit from the costume tests, and the mask was noticeably bigger. It almost kind of looked like a helmet, but he had these giant lenses, and I gotta say, I like the lenses a lot more than the ones we ended up getting. I love Tobey's normal suit, but the one thing for me that never really worked for me was the lenses. Even as a kid, they always kind of felt weird to me, but this suit was made so early into production, they didn't even have the Spider-Man logo created yet, or implemented on the suit itself, and the red with the mask is a completely different shade than the rest of the suit, so it definitely stands out. And also, it makes his head kind of look like a bobblehead, but it's still very interesting to see what the suit could have possibly looked like. Alrighty, moving on to the next one. This is probably where I'm gonna get some hate. I have Tom Holland's black and gold suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. Once again, like the Night Monkey suit, this suit was made solely to sell toys. There was no way in hell that you're gonna make me believe that Peter Parker was wearing this on his bare skin every single time he had donned the suit. You're telling me all these wires were sitting here poking him and prodding him? There was just no way. It would have been extremely uncomfortable, and I cannot believe that they really thought fans would buy into this. Besides all that, though, if we didn't have all the wires here, this probably could have been a really cool suit. I know when we first saw it in the trailer, I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, we're getting a black and gold suit? That's gonna be sick. But then when we saw it, I was heavily disappointed. I will say, I really love the gold gauntlet that Doctor Strange had given Spider-Man with the Eldritch magic in it so that he could send the villains into their holding chambers. Again, if this was on a normal gold and black suit, it would look so much better, and it kind of sucks. I feel like if they didn't add in all the wiring, a lot of people, including myself, would have this suit a lot higher on this list. I know for me, it would easily be in the top 10.
So what? Y'all just gonna stand here and act like I ain't butt-ass naked?
I am.
No.
Alrighty, next we have the Iron Spider suit that we've seen throughout the MCU and Infinity War, Endgame, Far From Home, and No Way Home. They completely missed the mark with this suit. I mean, we even got concept art for it. It literally was almost perfect. I don't know why they had to go and put the blue on there and over-design it, but still to this day, this is Peter's most worn suit, and that makes zero sense. This should have been a one and done or two and done. I'm totally fine with him having it in Infinity War and Endgame. It made sense, but after that, he should have stopped using it altogether. And yeah, it's so over-designed. This suit was never real to begin with. It's fully CG, and it feels like such a cop-out. It was only in extra movies to sell toys, and unfortunately, that seems like it's going to be a continuing trend for more suits on this list.
Friday, send him home. Yep. Oh, come on!
Alrighty, moving on, we have the Iron Spider suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know why, this suit looks so much better and different in this movie compared to Infinity War and Endgame and the rest of the appearances we get of it. I don't know why in Infinity War, when we first saw the suit get attached to Peter, it looks so much more different than this one. I don't know, man. I just like this one so much more. It's probably the same suit. It might just be the lighting where it looks better. The blue is more desaturated, almost looks black. But with that being said, I'm gonna move on. Alrighty, next we have the integrated suit from Spider-Man No Way Home. I really like this suit for what it is. When filming, they had just used the updated Far From Home suit and then added the gold lines from the Iron Spider onto this, and it works. And also the colors pop really well, especially for it being fully CG. You would not be able to tell at all. I also really love that Doc Ock kind of created this suit in a way with Peter's nanotech from the Iron Spider. I feel like it was a good way to get rid of the Iron Spider suit and to give Peter something new. And I love seeing it alongside Tobey and Andrew. I just wish a final swing suit would have been used for the final battle. I know why it's not, but just seeing all three of them land wearing their classic suits would have been perfect. I'd honestly be totally fine never seeing the suit again, and it kind of looks like that's going to be the case. Next, we have Tobey Maguire's homemade suit that we'd first seen in Spider-Man 1. I love the giant spider logo on the chest. I love how it's spray painted on. It looks so sick. I wish we would have gotten to see more of the suit being used. On top of that, the gloves aren't that bad, as well as the blue pants. I feel like it works, and the shoes, and he just has a balaclava. This is how you do a homemade suit. I'm looking at you, TASM1. They could have made that suit so much better, especially looking at this one. This is everything that I'd want from a homemade suit, and that's why it's leaps ahead of the other suits on this list.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Alrighty, next, this is going to be a controversial one. I have the TASM1 suit. I really do not like this suit. I have tried time and time again to make myself like it, and every single time I end up just hating it more and more. The texturing on it, like other people have said, it looks like a basketball, and I can't get over that fact. Along with that, the yellow lenses really just don't work for me, and they're too small. I don't like lenses where it looks like Spider-Man is having the squint. It shouldn't be like that in my opinion. I know that they were trying to reinvent the wheel with this suit, and I cannot help but feel like they had missed the mark with this.
The mistakes I made the first time around, I think about the suit, for example. I wanted the suit to be made by hand. I wanted it to feel tactile, and I wanted it to feel something that a kid could make. But I think we strayed too far from what people expected of that suit. I discovered how important it was to be protective of the iconography of Spider-Man.
They had a few cool ideas. I just feel like they were kind of executed poorly. It is cool to see them use the sole of Ossick's shoes and integrate it into the suit. I think it was a really cool idea. I also love his Spider-Man logo, but I just don't like the pattern on this suit at all. And I'm sorry if this is one of your favorite suits. It's not mine, unfortunately. With that being said, I'm gonna move on to the next one, and that being Tom Holland's suit from Spider-Man Far From Home and No Way Home. Now, in between the two movies, the suit did change ever so slightly. The belt was updated as well as some of the black lines, and it looks way much better in No Way Home than it did in Far From Home. And speaking of Far From Home, when the suit was made in the fabricator, we had even seen the original Iron Spider design. Why do they keep teasing us with this and not giving it to us? I will never understand. But with that, I really like this as a red and black suit. I feel like though, if the black was blue, it could have looked even better. Along with the Stark suit that's later down on this list, I hate that they keep cleaning up Tom Holland's suits with CGI to get rid of the seams and make it look smooth. It just feels so fake. As well, this is like the 5th suit in Far From Home. It was made once again to sell toys. We have to stop doing this, and hopefully with Brand New Day, that's going to be the case. It looks like we're only getting the final swing suit and the regular Brand New Day suit. Here's to hoping anyway. But as Tom Holland's second suit, I'm not counting the homemade suit or the Iron Spider, this was a pretty cool design, and it was awesome seeing Peter make it with the fabricator. Alrighty, next up, we have Tobey Maguire's unused symbiote suit from Spider-Man 3. Now, this suit was not used because Sony believed that it looked too much like BDSM. I can kind of see what they mean, but at the same time, this suit never got fully finished. I feel like if they would have gotten time to work on the suit more and refine it, it would have looked a lot better than the symbiote suit we had gotten. The giant Venom logo is amazing, as well as we had the white on the back of the hands. I want to see this so bad with the Tom Holland Spider-Man suit. I hope we get it. The lenses looked great as well. I just want to have a clean black symbiote suit with the white logo and the white on the back of the hands. And we were so close to having it, and then Sony had to come in and ruin it for all of us. Again, if they would have just given him a little extra time, I feel like it would have looked so much better than what it does.
See you, chump.
What the hell?
Alrighty, next up, we have Tom Holland's Stark suit from Civil War as well as Homecoming. I really love this suit. I just wish they didn't use CG to polish it up and get rid of all the wrinkles, because it looks so fucking fake when you see it, especially in Homecoming. But when the practical suit is used and in the behind the scenes as well as set photos, it looks so good. Weirdly enough, I don't mind the black on the arms, although the black lines on the pants could have gone, but it doesn't really bother me all that much. I really love the suit. I wish we got to spend more time with it. I just hate the fact that they polished it up with CG. It would have been so much higher on my list.
You have a metal arm?
And speaking of the suit and Civil War, we're going to talk about Tom Holland's original suit that he would have had in the movie. He was added in very late into production, and they had to rush to make the suit, and that is why they ended up just replacing it all with CG. But the suit that he had on set looked so much better. And again, just like Tobey's unused symbiote suit, if production would have had more time to work on the suit, it wouldn't look as fake as it does, and it would have probably been even better. I really love the Ditko spider logo that we have here too. It's a shame this suit never got to see the light of day. It could have been so much better than the Stark suit if it was given the proper time, love, and care.
That was awesome!
Alrighty, now at the number 6 spot, we have Tobey Maguire's symbiote suit. This suit holds a special place in my heart. I love it a lot, and they made so many subtle little changes to it, making the eyes more pointed and angrier, as well as hooking the legs inward on the Spider-Man logo. It's just Tobey's regular suit with it being all black, and it works so well. For our first and only symbiote suit, this one came out swinging, and still to this day, it has yet to be topped. Hopefully we'll see Tom Holland get the symbiote in Secret Wars. I cannot wait to see what that suit would look like. We did get concept art for it for No Way Home. I hope it returns. But also in Spider-Man 3, this suit, anytime it's on screen, it just pops so well, and I'm glad we got it, even though Sam Raimi didn't want to include Venom at all in the film. And you can thank Avi Arad for pushing him into the movie.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Alrighty, at the number 5 spot, we have Tom Holland's homemade suit from Spider-Man Homecoming. I love everything about it. The emotive eyes, the web shooters, even the reverse Ben Reilly hoodie. This is so sick, and in parts of the movie, it is entirely CG, and you can't even tell, and that's the best kind of CGI, where it's hidden and you don't even know it's there to begin with. But whenever the suit is practical, it looks so good on screen, and it is without a doubt our best homemade suit. And honestly, it might be kind of slept on. I know a lot of people don't have it high on their lists, but I do. I love it so much. Now moving on to the number 4 spot, we have Tom Holland's Final Swing suit from No Way Home. This suit will also be making its return in Spider-Man Brand New Day. On the Funko Pops, we can see here that it says No Way Home suit, and it's also battle damaged. I'm so glad we're gonna get to see it. In No Way Home, it was entirely CGI, it was never created practically, and we barely got to see it to begin with. I was hoping this suit would return and we get to spend some time with it before moving on, and it looks like we're gonna see it a little bit in Brand New Day, which I'm so excited. But I love everything about this suit, especially with them adding these into Insomniac's Spider-Man games. For the longest time, this was my favorite Tom Holland suit, and I know it was many of yours as well. At the number 3 spot, we have Tobey Maguire's suits from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. Now, I know that they change very slightly throughout the movies. Sometimes they're a little bit darker, sometimes they're brighter. There are subtle changes with the eyes, but I'm gonna lump them all together. This was our first live-action Spider-Man suit in movie form, and my only complaint really is the lenses. I don't like how small and angular they are. When I think of Spider-Man, I think of big lenses like Tom Holland's or even Andrew Garfield's. To me, those are the perfect lenses. But for our first live-action Spider-Man in movie form, these were great. I love the silver raised webbing as well as the face shell with it, and that's one thing I felt like it was missing in No Way Home, was that when Tobey talks, you can see his mouth moving, and we were never able to see that before in the Raimi films because of the face shell. But yeah, minus the lenses, I love everything about this suit. And whenever I see it, I cannot help but feel nostalgic for it. This was my first Spider-Man like a lot of you. Hell, I even dressed up as him for Halloween. Now moving on to the number 2 spot, we have the TASM 2 suit. This, to me, is the definitive Spider-Man suit. I love the size of these lenses. Andrew looks great in this suit. I love that we even get to see the ripples with it, and the fact that the suit is practical. They fixed all of the errors with the TASM 1 suit and improved it in every way. The only thing that I wish was changed was the blue being as dark as it is. I wish it was brighter, like the brand new Days suit. This would be the perfect Spider-Man suit, maybe even changing the raised webbing to be black instead of dark gray. I don't have much more to add to this. I would basically just be nitpicking. I love this suit so much, and I still go back and forth between this one and the number 1 spot.
Of Spider-Man.
And at the number 1 spot, we have Tom Holland's suit from Spider-Man Brand New Day. This suit is perfect. From the second we got the little tease of Tom Holland saying, "Are we ready?" And a couple days after that, seeing the set photos, I was amazed with the suit. Immediately, I knew this was going to replace the TASM 2 suit as my favorite live-action Spider-Man suit. I hope this stays as Tom Holland's definitive suit in the MCU for the next 10 plus years. I don't want them to change anything about it. I love the web shooters, even though it looks like he's going to get rid of them and have organic webbing in the film. I love the lenses. They are a lot bigger than Tom Holland's regular ones. The blue and the red are so vibrant, and I love it, as well as the black raised webbing. I know in the comments people are gonna say I'm a shill, I'm glazing. I don't care. This suit is so fucking sick. It's literally perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. But with all that being said, that was my list. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop it. So we've got one Marvel ranking done. Let's go ahead and move over to a DC one. And that's going to be ranking every single live action Batman suit. There are over 25 suits on this list, so let's start off in our honorable mentions with the 1943 Batman serials. This was our first ever live action Batman, and like I mentioned in previous videos, this was 1000% a product of its time. I mean, look at this suit. It looks like a Halloween costume that a mom would make for their kid, and it makes sense. I mean, this was the 1940s. There was nothing really to go off of, minus the comics itself. So they were pretty much just going for it and seeing what was gonna happen. It definitely looks dated for sure, but it isn't god-awful either, but it just doesn't compare to any other suits on this list. So that's why it's in honorable mentions. It would just be unfair to put it up against the BVS suit, the Pattinson suit, fucking Christian Bale, you name it. If both of them were on screen together in a movie that came out today, one would look like a parody and one would look real. So with that all being said, we're gonna move on to the next honorable mention, and this is the cowl we see in Gotham Knights. We don't see a suit at all. We see this cowl. It looks okay, I guess. And another one of those that we have is the cowl in Arrow Season 8, Episode 1. Again, this is just a cowl. I don't even know if this is really Batman's cowl or if something Oliver just made. But with these two, they're just cowls. It's not a full suit, so they can't be here regardless. But I figured because they still did appear, I would mention them. Next up, we have the concept art for Darren Aronofsky's Batman movie that was never made. Batman Year One was going to be coming out, and Joaquin Phoenix was going to play Batman. And we got multiple Batsuit designs for the film, but it's really hard to say which one of these would have actually made it into the film and which one Batman would be using. But we got 6 different Batsuits here in this concept art. I want to go ahead and show this to you all. These are really cool ideas. It would probably work as like a Gotham by Gaslight Batman, but I would never want to see this in live action, especially as a Year One Batman. It just does not work for me at all. But the concept art was made, and there's going to be more concept art suits showing up in this video. But with that being said, we're going to move on to our next one, and that being the Justice League Mortal suit that was supposed to be worn by Armie Hammer as Batman. Starting off, we have this group costume test photo. Now, it's really hard to tell how the Batsuit even looks in this. It kind of looks like Pattinson's, but Armie Hammer did come out in a tweet and say that this photo was actually fake. He had said, not quite, the Batsuit isn't right, and also Green Lantern was black. Common was going to nail that role, which, if you haven't seen my ranking on the Green Lantern suits, go ahead and watch it up here. I went ahead and went over this suit as well as the other suit that he had in the film. We have a bunch of concept art as well as designs for the film, and the only real piece of this suit is the cowl, which we had seen a cast for, and it looks kind of similar to Alex Ross's Batman. We got some more concept art with these goggles with the yellow lines going down the face. It looks a little weird, as well as this next one where we has these goggles and this big tactical vest. I don't know what the hell they were going for with this. We got some more designs with the streaks coming down as well, and this really weird padding on the legs and torso of the suit itself. As well, we're gonna have some mechanical elements on the spine, kind of like Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. Very interesting and kind of weird. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts on the suit. I don't really know how to feel about it. I'm very mixed. There's some elements where I think are kind of cool, and there's other ones where I don't know what the hell they were going for, and it makes 0 sense to me. But with that being said, let's move on to the main list. At the number 26 spot, we have the man suit from Gotham. I am including the man suits in here because they are prototype bat suits, so we gotta talk about the one from Gotham. Like I had said, I cannot take the suit seriously. We have a leather jacket with leather gloves that have these weird lines on the fingers running up them, with some black pants and dress shoes. Along with that, we have this atrocious looking cowl. All I really have to say about this cowl is that they did the actor so fucking dirty making him wear this. The memes are never gonna end. They literally could have just had a ski mask or a balaclava and it would have looked so much better than this. I don't know what made them think that this is what they should go with. It just doesn't look the greatest. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next one, and that being the bat suit that we see in Titans. This is another one of those suits where I don't know what the hell they were going for with this. This feels very piecemeal. It feels like it was never supposed to be actually on screen. It's really only used as a silhouette to begin with, and even then, it looks so weird in the show. But the behind the scenes photos expose how bad this suit really is. We don't even have a bat logo here. There's a weird cod piece that pulls down. The belt is halfway across his stomach. The armor padding is all over the place. On top of that, the cowl and neck piece sit just on top of everything. And in the episode, you can see it kind of flailing around and it looks really weird. I will say the one thing that's kind of nice is the ears on the cowl, although I really hate the devilish ears that Batman used to have, especially in the early comics where they were made to look more like devil horns. I hate when they're on suits and it just looks really bad in this. When it comes to over-designed suits, this has to be one of them. There was so much going on here. We have shoulder pads, knee pads, we have motorcycle gloves. The armor paneling is sectioned up throughout the entire thing. We got these little belt clips on the breast as well as on the belt. It looks like he's wearing like an Under Armour shirt underneath. And Titans has some really interesting suits like the Robin suit. What the fuck happened with this? I'm so confused by it. Anytime I see it, I'm left scratching my head wondering like what the thought process was. And I'm honestly so glad that we never actually saw the full suit on screen itself. It was always silhouetted or darkened to where you couldn't see the details. And it's very obvious as to why. This suit is terrible, and that's why it's here at the spot.
Where's Batman?
Fuck Batman.
Alrighty, next up, we have George Clooney's ice suit from Batman and Robin. A lot of people, for some reason, have this suit higher in their lists. I don't know why people glaze this. They look terrible. The one thing for me that I like is the fact that the suit is blue and not black, but that's it. If you want to talk about an over-designed suit, this should be the one that you talk about. Holy fucking hell. If there was one suit that was made solely to create toys, this was fucking it. For sure. I hate the silver elements all over the place on the suit. They don't even make sense to begin with. I guess in the deleted scene, they were supposed to help when Batman gets hit by Mr. Freeze, but they never showed in the movie. There's no reason for it really in the movie at all. And on top of that, this is a really bad suit and a really bad movie, and it only makes it worse. I actually feel like George Clooney was a pretty good Bruce Wayne, but when it came to Batman, it all went out the window. And with that being said, the next suit on this list as well is another George Clooney suit, and that's this main suit that he has in the movie. The only reason why it's higher on here is because it's not as over-designed as the ice suit. I mean, we have the bat nipples. Yeah, they're there. They're not good looking. I don't even know why they're there to begin with. At least with all of the colors on this suit, it kind of all just meshes together. And from a distance, it doesn't stand out all that much. But the muscle padding has gone to the extreme with this suit as well as the nipples. The belt is okay, I guess. And on the boots, we have these battering, almost looking decals, which I guess is a cool idea. Again, though, these two suits are just really bad, and I can't put them any higher than what they are. Next up, we have the Gotham Finale suit. Yes, you heard that right. I think this suit is better than George Clooney's suits, and that's saying a lot. It isn't really all that better, but at least we don't have bat nipples here as well. This kind of actually looks like armor, not just a rubber suit, even though it is rubber. The cowl is okay, I guess, but everything with the suit besides that is really weird. Why is the breastplate as well as the abs not connected at all? Why is it split apart? Why is there another one of those Under Armour shirts underneath? It really doesn't make sense. How the cape attaches is kind of cool. I like how it kind of folds inward, but that's really about it. This suit was really odd, and we literally only saw it for 5 fucking seconds in the episode. I wish we would have got to see a little bit more of it. Maybe it would have looked better. Who knows, though? We do have a lot of behind-the-scenes photos, and I don't really think they do it a whole lot of justice either. It is still better than Clooney's suits, in my opinion, even though it has a lot of the same issues with it. In its execution, it's just done so much better. Alrighty, next up, we have Kevin Conroy's Batsuit from the Arrowverse. I really wish we would have got to see him physically in this suit. R.I.P. Kevin Conroy. I'm glad he got to play Batman finally in live action, but I wish he would have got to don the suit. For being the Arrowverse, this suit honestly isn't the worst thing ever. I kind of like it. It definitely needed some work, but I love the bracers that we have on the wrist here, as well as the belt on the suit. It's one of my favorites. It's very sleek in its design. It's simple, but it works and it's effective. Where it kind of loses me though is the breastplate with the Batman logo. The logo itself is fine, but the material they use from like here up just looks really weird. I don't know why. There's like a metallic sheen to it, and the rest of the suit does not have that same sheen. It feels like a really odd place to put it. Maybe they're trying to make the logo stand out more. I don't know. This Batsuit overall just looks very slim. It doesn't feel bulky. It doesn't feel menacing. So I think a muscle suit underneath this would really make it stand out, but it doesn't have that, and I kind of feel like it hinders the suit a little bit. Alrighty, next up, we have Val Kilmer's Panther suit from Batman Forever. Out of all the 90s suits, this is probably one of the best ones. Again, we have the bat nipples. This shouldn't be here to begin with. The muscle texturing is still a little bit too much. Overall, the texture of the suit, the color of it, as well as the belt, and even the cowl looks great. I really love the cape as well. Honestly, this might even be better than his Sonar suit. I do like that one a little bit more, but this one and that one are almost neck and neck. I love this one a lot. Val Kilmer was probably one of our best adaptations of Bruce Wayne. Batman, I don't know if I can say the same, but his Bruce Wayne was really convincing, and I really liked his take on the character. Alrighty, following that, we have the man suit from Batman Begins. This is pretty much just the bat suit without the cowl, without the cape, but we also have this harness that is attached to the belt and to his legs. As well, we have a ski mask. This feels like the closest thing to the DCAU prototype Batman suit that we had seen in Mask of the Phantasm. It's very similar to that, but this is literally just the Batman Begins suit with a couple added or removed things depending on how you look at it. Overall, it works. It's a prototype suit. It's exactly what it should be, and when it fully becomes the real suit, it looks so much better. Already following that, we have the blue and gray batsuit that we had seen from Ben Affleck in The Flash. On paper, this should have been one of the best batsuits that we'd ever gotten. We were finally getting the blue and yellow and gray, and it ended up looking like this. What went wrong with this suit? I have no clue. We had even seen Michael Keaton have a blue and gray batsuit that looked so much better in this film, and in the behind the scenes, there was a version of this suit, and it was black, gold, and silver, and it looked so sick. It's probably what this suit was originally intended to be, but they ended up changing it and going with the blue and the yellow, and I do not know why. The black and gold variant of this looks so much better. It's later down on this list. I'm not going to talk about it all that much, but the blue and yellow, man, come on. The cowl, the way it fits into the cape looks really weird. The rubber texture on it feels really fake. Like, I feel like I could touch it and it would move like Play-Doh. It shouldn't feel that way, especially for a bat suit. Ultimately, I just feel kind of robbed. After years of fans wanting the blue and yellow and gray, we finally got it and it looked like this. It's disappointing. I really wanted to like the suit. I've tried to make myself like it so much, especially when there's a better version of this suit in the black and gold. It feels like a kick to the balls. I don't know why. Maybe you feel like this as well. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm getting annoyed just thinking about it right now. So with that being said, let's move on to the next one on this list, and that being the Sonar suit from Batman Forever. I know I'd already previously mentioned this suit. I like it more than the Panther suit that Val Kilmer had worn. We also did get some alternate eyes, and it looked cool for like the split second it was there, but that was about it. This suit is probably a little bit more over-designed than the Panther suit, but I feel like it works. This suit is also more so gray than it is black, and it doesn't look all that bad. Paired with this suit, to me, is my favorite Robin suit that we've gotten so far. I really hope in the DCU we get a way better suit than this, but I like this Robin suit so much more than the one that's in Batman and Robin. The only thing with this that makes me scratch my head is the cod piece. What the fuck is this? Why are we outlining this dude's piece of deal? There is no need for this at all, especially in a kid's movie. Why do we have to over-sexualize these characters, especially for kids? I will never understand. Moving on though, at the number 16 spot, we have Adam West's Batman suit from the 1960s. Yes, you heard me right. It's not amazing by any means, but it feels tangible, it feels real, it feels like something that Bruce would have made. The blue sheen and the reflectiveness of it works really great, and I hope it kind of gets brought back in some way, at least the reflectiveness of the blue. We have the blue, yellow, and gray. We have the trunks. I mean, what much more can you ask for besides it feeling more tactical and feeling bigger and more imposing, feeling like Batman? Overall, though, this is a really good suit, and I'm glad we got it. It even feels like the Pattinson suit took a little bit of inspiration from it, and I can see why. I mean, Ozzy can too, apparently. What are you doing? You coming to say hi? Say hi. Say hi. You see the peoples?
That's around here, it's kind of sculpted in like you would around a skull. And this nose piece, which is from the front, it's got that opening in the face. And obviously it's also inspired a little bit by that Adam West.
Alrighty, moving on, at the number 15 spot, we have the armored suit from the Justice League. And this is another one of those suits where I don't know what the hell they were going for. Ozzy apparently doesn't either. I mean, he literally looks like Night Owl from Watchmen. If they took the suit from that movie, also directed by Zack Snyder, and threw it into this movie, it would look very similar. I hate the goggles. I hate the extra beefed up padding. It just doesn't feel right. The silver, I feel like also is a little too much, and when the goggles aren't there, it feels really weird. When he has these little silver pieces on the sides of his head, it feels incomplete. It feels rushed, and I gotta say, I'm pretty sure it is. But that's besides the point. I really do not like the suit. I would have had it lower on this list, but realistically, if it was put up against other suits, it would still probably be better than them. I don't know, dude. This suit could have been so much better, and it just isn't, unfortunately. Following that, we're gonna have Ben Affleck's regular Justice League suit. If you didn't know, Jose Fernandez and Ironhead Studios had made the cowl for BVS, and it looked great in that film. But they were uncredited and did not return for Justice League, so Michael Wilkinson, the costume designer for both films, decided to make the cowl, and it just does not look the same. I hate the brows on here. It looks like Batman is like questioning everything, but not in an intimidating way, and it just looks off. Apparently, it was also extremely uncomfortable in BVS. Ben Affleck could look left and right and have no issues whatsoever, and he cannot do that in Justice League. And it kind of looks like that too, because you can kind of see him doing the whole Batman lean, and and it definitely looks goofy. They took the BVS suit, changed it a little bit, and added all of these armor panels at random spots that pop out, and it just does not look good. The BVS suit was perfect, and they just fucked it up with this. I don't know why they had to go and change it. I mean, if they wanted to do anything, they could have just made the suit black and made the gold stand out more, and it probably would have looked better than what we had gotten. This is another one of those perfect examples of they have the perfect suit, and then they go ahead and try changing it up, try adding to it, and it ends up just looking worse. And sometimes a little less is actually more. Following that, we have Christian Bale's suit from The Dark Knight Rises. Now, this suit and the Dark Knight suit are very similar. I think they're literally the same suit. The only real difference here is the gloves, and that's about it. I mean, Christian Bale's Batman is one of the Batmans I grew up with. I liked it a lot, but over time, seeing better and cooler stories in suits in the comics, whenever I go back and rewatch it, I cannot help but feel like they could have done so many things differently. Still a pretty solid movie, though. Especially too, the mouth on all of Christian Bale's suits just looks really weird. Why do we have only a goatee section here available compared to the rest of the face? It looks really weird. This suit, along with the Dark Knight suit, have the ability once again to turn the head full and have full rotation in it, and it worked great. But for me, the Bat logo on the chest is just too small, and this suit feels really over-designed. If I think of the best Christian Bale suit, it's probably gonna be the suit from Batman Begins. It looks kind of rubbery, but it doesn't feel as over-designed as this. There are lines everywhere on this suit. I think this was the first version of the MCU-ified suits that was almost pre-MCU. Too much is going on here for me. Along with that, the next suit on this list is the Dark Knight suit. Once again, all the same complaints I just had with the previous suit or with this one. As well, the cape is a completely different color of black compared to the rest of the suit, and it feels really weird. It's a deep black that kind of has a velvety texture, which doesn't really look the best to me. Ozzy is making his return once again. What's going on, buddy? What's going on? What's going on, buddy? It looks like Ozzy's just gonna be joining us for this. I will say, I do like the lines on the torso part of this version of the suit more than the Dark Knight Rises version of it. I don't know why, it does feel a little bit cleaner. And again, the only really big change here was the gloves. I do think this suit looks a little bit better though than the Rises suit. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next one. And that being the Nightmare suit from BVS. Call me crazy, but for a post-apocalyptic future, I feel like the trench coat works very well with this suit. Hell, these goggles even work 10 times better than the ones we had in Justice League. It also has that beautiful BVS cowl. For what it is, it looks great. At the number 10 spot, we have the behind-the-scenes black and gold suit from The Flash. I had talked about this a little bit earlier. In the behind-the-scenes, we saw this very briefly. There was a black and gold variant of the blue and yellow suit that we had seen with Ben Affleck, and it looks so much better. All of the little texturing details are gone here. We don't see the cowl, so I can't say it looks better, but everything else with it is. The gold really stands out on the belt. It's almost bronze. It stands out way more than it did with the original suit. As well, the silver bat logo across the chest looks great. All the little hexagon patterns are still there, but they're hardly noticeable. I wish we would have got to see the scene that this was in. It just looks so much better than the one we had gotten. Following that, at the number 9 spot, we have Keaton's suit from 1989's Batman, the original Tim Burton film. I love this suit a lot. It definitely is a little bit more dated than the other ones. Once again, this is another one of those rubber ones, but it doesn't look all that bad. We don't have the bat nipples here. The texturing on the cape, though, is a little weird. It feels like it has all these little cracks in it, and the shoulder part of the cowl with the logo sits a little bit higher than it, so it looks a little off because of that. But for our first real take on a live-action bat suit in a Batman movie, this had hit it out of the park. And I cannot help but feel nostalgic for it. Now moving on to the number 8 spot, we have Ben Affleck's suit from his canceled solo film as Batman in the DCEU. We had only gotten concept art of this suit, and I gotta say, it changes up his normal design entirely, and it looks pretty sick. One of the few gripes with this suit is the belt. We literally have a Wayne logo or W in the belt buckle itself. Kind of defeats the entire purpose of hiding the fact that you're Bruce Wayne. You could also say it looks like a bat. I don't see it at all. All I see is the Wayne W in the belt. To me, this suit looks like if you would have taken the suit from Arkham Knight and made it in real life, this is what you would get. And I love it. I love all the little details on that belt, minus the belt buckle. I love the muscle padding. I love the bat logo. And if you didn't know, Deathstroke was going to be the villain of this movie. It's going to be written, directed, and starring Ben Affleck. And later on, he ultimately ended up stepping down as a writer/director. And Warner Brothers brought in Matt Reeves, who entirely rewrote the movie and recasted Batman, giving us the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I gotta say, it is a shame. I wish we would have got to see this movie, although I would not trade Pattinson for this version at all. The Batman Part 1 was great, and I really hoped that Ben Affleck's movie would have lived up to it, but I just don't know if it would have, especially without Matt Reeves being there. Overall though, this Batsuit is pretty fucking cool. Alrighty, next up at the number 7 spot, we have the Batman Begins suit. I love almost everything about this suit. Even in the behind the scenes, they call this suit the Panther, just like Val Kilmer's they had done.
It gives you this huge neck, you know, kind of like a panther, this real kind of feral look, you know, as you're gonna pounce on somebody all the time.
I love the gloves. I love the belt. Again, that cowl with the mouthpiece is a little odd. I can't get over the oval for his mouth. I think this is the best Nolan bat suit that we had gotten throughout the trilogy. You can fight me about it in the comments down below. I just love this one so much more than the rest of the suits. With that being said, we're gonna move on to the number 6 spot, and that being the bat suit from the Bateman State Farm commercial. All of the designs in this commercial were peak. Joker looks amazing. The actor playing him, I hope plays the Joker in the DCU. Look at this fucking dude. That's the Joker. This looks like the perfect mix of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger put together, and I hope to God this dude can return in the future. I also really love Two-Face's design. For me though, I want Two-Face to have the blue on the side of his face. I grew up with B-Taz in the DCAU. To me, that's Two-Face. And the red can work as long as it doesn't look like Tommy Lee Jones, and it doesn't in this. I think this Riddler suit was a giant step up from Jim Carrey's as well, although I kind of feel like the Riddler in Gotham had looked the best. Maybe that's just me, but Poison Ivy looked really good too. With that, we're gonna move on to the Batsuit. I love the cowl with this suit. It almost looks like the BVS cowl, just changed ever so slightly, and it works so well. I love the logo on the chest. If I had to pick for the DCU Bat logo, besides the Matte Fraction one, this would be the one that I'd want. I love it so much. I will say the bracers on the wrist are okay. We don't have the fins at all. I want to see the fins there. I love this chunky fucking belt. I don't know why. I love belts that feel practical and feel like you could actually store stuff in them. And this is one of those. In the behind the scenes photos of this and the rest of the suits, they all look great. The teams that worked on these should be brought back in to work on the DCU suits. They just look so good, and I feel like if they had the proper budget, they could be perfect. Alrighty, and now at the number 5 spot, we have Michael Keaton's bat suit from Batman Returns. I think this is one of Michael Keaton's best looks as Batman. They took everything with the 89 suit and improved it in almost every way. I love the abs, I love the torso. All of the issues I had with the 89 suit were fixed, and this one just looks so much better. The only thing for me that is very weird is the fact that when he takes off the cowl, he has to rip it up, and you can see Batman without the eye makeup is very jarring. I kind of wish they had the makeup look like Pattinson's when he takes off the cowl. I feel like it could have worked. I also understand why they didn't. But the fact to take this cowl off, you have to take the entire chest piece along with the cape and lift it up over his head is a little ridiculous, and it kind of makes it look cheesy. Besides that scene though, this suit looks great. It feels armored, it feels practical, it feels like something that Batman would wear. It's just that scene at the end that makes it a little bit lower here on this list. And now at the number 4 spot, we have the mech suit from BVS. When I think of comic book suits that are recreated perfectly, I think of this one. This looks like it's ripped straight off of the pages of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. I mean, so much so to the fact that they even included the little spikes on the bottom of the boots, and up until recording for this video, I didn't even think that these were included, but when I slowed it down and I zoomed in and I looked, you could actually see there for a little bit that the spikes are on the bottoms of these boots, which is insane. This feels real, it feels practical, and that's because it is. This was actually worn on set. Majority of the time when you see it though, it is replaced with the CG version of it, but when the practical suit is used, it looks great, and it doesn't feel like an Iron Man suit. And we finally got the white eyes of Batman. I know we saw it a little bit with the Sonar suit and in the Dark Knight. They don't even compare to this. I love these eyes so much. The fact that it's a light works great, and it took us forever to get there, but we finally got it. This suit is great, and it's gonna be at our number 4 spot. The comic accuracy with the suit is insane. Alrighty, next up at the number 3 spot, we have Michael Keaton's bat suit from The Flash. This is without a doubt his best live action bat suit. It takes everything that worked perfectly with the 89 suit and the Return suit and updates it and implements it into this one. This is the perfect modern rendition of that suit. It still has the rubberness to it, but it improves every little detail about it. The abs look great, the bracers on the wrist with the fins are awesome, the texture that they used on the cape was great, And originally, they had updated Keaton's cowl so that he could have full range of motion with his head, but he told the costume designers that he could not have that.
One of the folklores about Michael Keaton's original costumes were that they were really constrictive and hard to move in. And so we took it on ourselves to try and create a new rubber batsuit that would be much more flexible, much more comfortable, much more usable.
But when Michael put the cowl on, the first time we explained to him, I said, hopefully, Michael, we've put more movement into him. And he just go, no, it can't have that. There's no way we can have movement. He's, okay, we will make sure it's nice and for you.
As well on the suit, Batman has shoulder pads. Weirdly enough, it kind of works. The belt here too is great. I just wish the belt was yellow. If it was the same yellow shade that the crest has, it would be perfect and probably would be at my #1 spot. I love this suit so much, and seeing Keaton back in the suit in action looked great, and Keaton did not nearly have as much sauce in the other films as he did in this one, and that's just thanks to modern technology and years of improving fight choreography. Moving on to the #2 spot, we have Robert Pattinson's Batsuit from The Batman. I love this suit so much. I'm hoping we get some set photos soon of the new updated version of it. I love the take on this suit. It's real and it feels extremely practical, down to them using a police duty belt as the utility belt in this suit, as well as the holster for his grapple gun. On top of that, I love the leather cape, especially with the collar, and don't even get me started about the cowl. The fact that you can see a little bit of details that kind of make up a skull, even saying it out loud, sounds ridiculous, but in its execution, it works so well. My only thing is I would love to see a little bit of blue in this suit. I don't know if they would ever do it, but there are so many edits out there of it online, and it looks so sick, especially when it's done right. Like I said, I cannot wait to see some set photos of the new improved suit. I love this one so much. The fact that the bat logo comes out of the chest piece and as a prototype batarang that can be used as a knife is a really cool detail. When we saw the first footage of the suit along with Catwoman, it looked so good. I love how they did the abs and the torso too. It feels perfectly armored without being over the top. I feel like if they were to take the Arkham Knight Batsuit and make it in live action, it would feel too over-designed and too armored, and this does it without being over the top or ridiculous. I love how it was implemented. But with that being said, finally at the #1 spot, we have the BVS Batflex suit. I love this suit so much. Ben Affleck's look as Batman in terms of comic book accuracy, I think is really high up there. I love his suit so much, the way he looks, his presence. But with that all aside, everything else is out the window. Batman should not go around branding people or killing people, but yet he does in BVS. But the suit itself is so good. I love the scratch mark texturing in the bodysuit, and weirdly enough, the blue and yellow suit in the Dark Knight Returns comic by Frank Miller, if they used the colors from that and put it on the Batflex suit from this movie, it could have worked so well, especially with how Batflex equipment has more of a wooden texture to it. I feel like that would stand out, especially against the blue and yellow, but besides that, the gray and black is great. I love the cowl once again. The cape is almost entirely CGI too for that warehouse fight, and you can't even tell. It looks great. I wish we got to spend some more time with this suit. I do not know why they went ahead and changed it in Justice League. They shouldn't have fucked with it. It was literally perfect, and that is why it's at the #1 spot. Out of all the live action Batman suits we have gotten, I think this one is probably going to be my favorite. I know it's not going to be a lot of yours. Like a lot of you, I am eagerly waiting to see what the DCU Batsuit would look like. I would low-key just love to have Matt Fraction's Batman suit done in live action. It would be perfect. But with that being said, I'd love to hear your list in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop them. And next up, we're going to stick with DC, and this is one of my favorite rankings I've ever made, and that is every single live-action Flash suit. With all that being said, there are over 20 suits on this list, so let's start off in last place with the Legion of the Superheroes suit that we had seen from 1979. Now, this suit definitely is a product of its time. It looks very dated to say the least. The Flash symbol is turned on its side and inverted, and it looks really odd. I don't know why they went ahead and did that. They kept everything else pretty accurate to the comics. I love that he has the wings on the boots as well as the sides of his cowl. On top of that too, we have the fully connected belt and it on the arms. I love when we have all this working together, especially with the gold boots. And this suit has all of that, but when you see it on screen, it looks really dated and really fake. The cowl also too has this like foam piece for the front part of it, and it looks really weird. I don't know what they're going for with this, but I will say we do have the open nose for Barry Allen. There's a suit in this list that has the nose covered for Barry, and honestly, I prefer that for Wally, but the fact that we have it open here for 1979 is pretty sick. Alrighty, next up at the #20 spot, we have the 1997 Justice League of America movie. That really didn't go anywhere. This movie was, for lack of a better term, terrible. The suits in this were very questionable. I mean, just look at this Flash suit. The cowl is atrocious. It's a red hood, and then on top of that, we have these almost goggle-looking things going over the top that go across the back, and it just looks really weird. I don't know why they went ahead and made that like an indent. It just, I don't know. As well as the lightning bolts, they're not on the sides of his ears or by his ears. They're on the sides of his face going upward. Kind of looks like an Emperor Penguin. I don't know what they're doing there. The Flash symbol is great. I love how big it is. It feels just like this one. But weirdly enough, we have the lightning bolts on like his wrists. going across his hand. Really weird choice for that. They could have just had him on the forearms or not had him at all. I don't know. It just looks really weird. We do have the gold boots here, which is nice, but there are no wings on it. There aren't really any wings at all on the suit. I'm not even gonna count the little fins here. Those look ridiculous. I might honestly change this to the number 21 spot and replace the Legion of Superheroes one with this. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. This suit is so weird, dude. Alrighty, next up at the number 19 spot, we have Grant Gustin's homemade suit, more so his test suit. And this thing just looks super weird. We have these really weird looking running shoes as well as knee pads. And my man is wearing a leotard. On top of that, we have some elbow pads and this really weird looking helmet. It kind of looks like one of those whitewater rafting helmets. I don't really know why or what they're going for with this. Weirdly enough though, we have the chin strap here. There's no wings. There's really no indication that this is the Flash. Minus this piece that Cisco makes that goes into the ear. It's very small, but it's there, so that is gonna give it a little bit of points. But yeah, this is just a homemade suit. There are better ones in this video, so I'm gonna move on. Next up, we have Ezra Miller's homemade suit from the Flash. As far as like homemade / prototype suits go, I think this one is really high up there. It's definitely criminally underrated for sure. If you want to see my video where I talked about the most underrated DCEU superhero suits, go ahead and click up here. This suit is on there with a ton of others. So speaking of the suit, we have these high top Converse with duct tape on them, holding them all together, as well as duct tape on Barry's pants. We got the elbow pads once again, but we have this like body armor / vest that Barry is wearing here, and we can see the lightning bolt etched into it. I love that. We have a balaclava and a helmet here as well. And on the sides of the helmet, we actually have the wings. Very surprising, but I love it. It looks great. This prototype suit was in the movie, I think, for less than a minute. It made a quick appearance, and overall, it's a pretty good homemade suit. I think it's better than the last one anyway, and that's why it's here. Next up, we have Grant Gustin's homemade suit from The Flash, Season 1, Episode 1. In the show, they said that this was the Star Labs Fire and Rescue uniforms. I cannot believe that at all. This is literally just a Flash suit with the logo ripped off the chest and a respirator added. You could see all the lightning lines through it, as well as on the head. Like, literally... It feels like they went ahead and made the Season 1 Flash suit, and then we're like, shit, we need to make a homemade version of this, or like a prototype version. So they just ripped the patch off and threw on a mask. There's no way in hell you're gonna get me to believe that the Star Labs Fire and Rescue team were wearing these. They were just wearing prototype Flash suits, especially with the lightning bolts carved into the cowl. I don't know, guys. Like, it's just so stupid. I'm sorry. That explanation for it is ridiculous, especially when there are 0 Star Labs symbols or markings anywhere on the suit whatsoever to indicate that. I feel like they could have came up with anything else besides that, and it would have been 10 times better. I mean, Barry even knew that the respirator was dog shit. He threw that shit away immediately after his first encounter with anything. Like, I don't know, dude. Let's move on. Alrighty, next up, we have Bart Allen / Impulse's suit from Smallville. Before you go to the comments saying, oh, no, this is Impulse, this is Bart Allen, this isn't Barry Allen, I don't want to hear it. Originally, this was supposed to be Barry Allen, and then WB came in and does what WB does. And that is solely the reason why, because of the restriction, and they had to change stuff last minute. And if you're gonna get upset about it, this is the only suit that isn't worn by Barry Allen in any of these. I'm still counting this as Barry Allen. It's supposed to be Barry Allen, and it's just not because of Warner Brothers. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. This suit is awesome though. I love the vest and the hood, especially with the yellow piping, as well as the two-tone red. It works so well. The shoes are nice as well. The glasses I could go without, but hey, it is what it is. It's early 2000s. And he has these almost like Nickelback Chad braces on his wrists. It's one thing I didn't even realize originally. And just because we're already talking about him, I'm also going to talk about his original homemade suit. That was more so just the hoodie with the backpack. The backpack had the Flash logo on the back. That was about it. I'm not going to add that as an additional suit. It's just part of this. I'm going to say it's an evolution of it. As far as homemade suits go, out of all the ones we've gotten, I think this one probably looks the best. Next up, we have Ezra Miller's man suit from The Flash. Now, this is just the 1992 Michael Keaton Batman Returns suit that had the ears cut off and some slits cut into it, and it's spray painted red, with the lightning bolt decals on the boots, as well as on that logo. It's kind of a homemade suit. It's also kind of not. We have the lightning belt as well as on the arms, but it's basically from caution tape, so I'm going to dock some points because of that. They could have just spray painted it on there. I don't know, dude. It looks weird that he even taped it to begin with. Later on, though, the suit comes with headphones on the ears. They kind of make the wings. I'm going to give it an A for effort, but it's really not that good, and that is why it is listed here at the number 15 spot. Following that, we have another Ezra Miller suit, and this is his main suit that we see in The Flash. I hate everything about this suit. The texture of it is this membrane fucking nutsack looking texture. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with this. It looks terrible. I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to look at it. The cowl was kind of close to being good, but it just looks really weird anytime you see it. It looks terrible. The cowl had a cool feature, like with the lenses coming down. We do have the wings on the side of the cowl as well. That I like.
So this is the interior cowl. It'll be powdered red. This is the exterior cowl, which will be done in a clear urethane. This will go over the top of this to give it that cool translucent look.
But that's really about it. It looks really weird, especially when it's fully CG and it's only just this that's real, and it completely stands out from the suit. The logo as well to me is really small here. As well, the belt doesn't connect. I don't know why they do this sometimes with flash suits. The lightning bolt belt all the way across should fully connect in my opinion, as well as having the lightning bolts in the arm. The boots as well are so over designed. They didn't even need to be. If they were solid gold, they'd probably look so much better. One other thing though that looks kind of cool in this suit is when his powers are being used, the lightning charges through the suit. I think it's a really cool detail and I'd love to see it continue, but just not as bad as it looks in this. I feel like there are so many better ways to make this look, but overall, dude, this suit is just fucking terrible. I don't want to look at it anymore, so I want to move on.
The exciting things about this project is designing a new Flash suit. Don't get me wrong, I love the Justice League suit. I just thought that we needed a change, given that 5 years have gone by and he's befriended Bruce Wayne, and it incorporates also this electricity conductors that light up when he's running or when he's getting ready to run. I'm very happy with the result. All that sheen and satin and the lights and the layers. I'm super proud of it.
Ooh, man, tight. It hurts. You know where it hurts? In my dick. Okay.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Alrighty, next up, we have the Justice League Mortal Flash suit. This suit, honestly, is pretty fucking peak. It has everything that I want to see from the Flash suit, especially for Barry Allen. We have the wings on the side of the cowl, as well as the open nose. We have the giant chest logo. It looks great. The only thing here, the belt doesn't connect all the way, and we have the lightning bolts on the forearms. We also have the gold boots. Unfortunately, though, they don't have the wings, and this was taken from the costume tests, but if we go to the concept art, he does have the full belt here, so maybe they were gonna do it. I have no clue, but there is this yellow piping going up the sides of the legs, and it kind of looks like State Trooper pants if you've ever seen them. And really the only other photo we have of this is the sculpt for the cowl, and it looks great. There is a little bit of indentation here for the brow, but overall this Flash suit is honestly pretty good. But since we don't have a whole lot to go off of, I can't put it any higher because it could look terrible, especially on screen. Unfortunately though, we will never know. Following that, we have Ezra Miller's suit from BVS. We also saw it in the Snyder Cut. We got a better look at it there, but in BVS we see it for only a couple seconds, and I think it looks the best in this, but it's not really that much of a Flash suit. I mean, the mask and visor honestly is pretty cool. I like how it works. I just wouldn't want that for the Flash. As well, we have a lightning bolt here, but it's obscured by these belts, and it just doesn't look the greatest. But the rest of the armor honestly looks pretty sick, especially for like a dystopian future, and it looks a lot better in the nightmare scene itself. But the only thing is though, Ezra Miller is fully CGI here, and you can tell. Look at this dude's face. Dude, I get that he wasn't there to film, but this just makes it look terrible for him. Like WB really fucking hated Ezra Miller. His CGI look is ridiculous. But overall, I like all the armoring. We don't have the lightning belt or the lightning bolts on the arms, but when his mask opens up, he has the normal Justice League cowl underneath, and I really like that detail. And we get one really quick shot of the legs and boots. The boots are not gold, and there isn't any lightning bolts on there, and the wings aren't on there either. But I will say, I would rather have this suit than the Flash suit in the movie. I fucking hate that suit so much. I'm sorry. I would rather take this one, but I'd also rather not have this at all. Moving on to the number 11 spot, we have Grant Gustin's first suit that he had gotten in the Flash season 1. This was the one with the original cowl. Overall, this isn't terrible. I just really have a strong hate for leather suits. If you've seen my other rankings, I am not kind to them. Leather on superhero suits should be very selective if used, and when the entire suit is leather, it just doesn't look good. This one kind of suffers from that, as well as the cowl. It looks really goofy, especially on his head. Throughout the season though, they update the cowl and it looks so much better. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. As well, whenever he takes off this cowl, they always cut to him pulling the hood off to where it looks like it's his normal hood that he can just throw up over his head. You're not gonna make me ever believe that the cowl is the same as when he takes off the hood. There's just no way. I get what they're trying to do, but it just looks ridiculous, especially with how bulky the cowl is. There's no way when he pulls it back, that's all coming down with it. There's just no way. I'm sorry. Overall, we have the red here, we have some gold piping, and the Flash logo. This logo is kind of different than what we're used to. It's smaller and it has a red background. I wish this logo was bigger, but again, it's the CW, and this was one of their first suits they ever made for a superhero show, so I'll cut them some slack for it. As for me, I just don't like it nearly as much as his other suits. Next up, at the number 10 spot, we have the season 4 Flash suit. I think this one is leagues better than the original suit. We have the white background here, and the suit got some updating. There's more lines cutting through it, there's more lightning bolts. We have the gold belt, we have the lightning bolts on the sides of the arms, as well as on the cowl. But the thing is though, we can see the zipper going right up the middle of the suit, clear as day. That, along with the lines that make up the abs in the suit, just feel really cheap and fake. Again, it's a leather suit, it does look a lot better, but the cowl just makes the suit look so bad. The red color here is entirely different from the rest of the suit, and it really stands out in certain shots. It's literally just the regular cowl thrown into this new suit. I don't know why they went ahead and went through all the trouble of making him a new suit just to not give him a new cowl. It kind of looks stupid in my opinion, but I really love all the yellow piping throughout the suit. It looks great. Next up, we have the Flash Season 5 suit with the original cowl. Honestly, this suit, minus the cowl, looks pretty good. We have the suit coming out of the ring. We have the gold belt. We have the white logo. The suit material gets an entire overhaul, and it looks so much better than the leather. I will say, we are kind of missing the lightning bolts on the arms. They are just on one side, and as well, they're on the top of the boots. I don't know why that was a decision to put them there, but the cowl with this suit is ridiculous. It looks so bad. We have the wings on the side. I'm not even going to count those as brownie points. This fucking cowl is terrible. I'm so sorry. They do update it throughout the season and it looks a little bit better, but overall, this cowl just isn't working. They need to bring back the chin strap, and when they do, it looks so much better. Alrighty, going back to the Season 1 suit, now we have the updated cowl, and this one is just a little bit ahead of the Season 5 suit. It has the updated cowl. It looks like it fits way better, and it just works so much better with the suit. There's not a whole lot of changes to it, but the ones they make really stand out. And with that, we're gonna move back to the Season 5 suit for its updated cowl. Now, like I said, this one looks better. It is more form-fitting, but it's kind of weird. When you get to the back of the head, there is a cutout here, and it looks really weird, especially when you're seeing it from the back. It kind of looks like the original pigskin football helmets. But the wings are updated, and also on the suit, the lightning bolt in the forearm kind of works like the edge of a glove. I kind of like that detail, and maybe it's on the regular suit. I just didn't notice it before. But the new cowl looks so much better. It doesn't look as big and bulky. It fits more to Grant's head, and the lines aren't as prominent in the front. They're entirely reworked. Again, if this just had the chin strap, it would probably look so much better. Quickly, I just wanted to let you all know that I went ahead and made a Discord server to connect with all of you better. There we talk comics, movies, gaming, theories, you name it, it is all there. If this at all interests you, go ahead and join the Comic Shop Discord server. Links are in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Moving on to the number 6 spot, we have John Wesley Shipp's Flash suit from the 90s TV show. I really love this suit. That might throw some of you off, and that's fine. This suit is awesome. The really only thing to me that stands out that I want changed is this logo. The lightning bolt is great, but the white background is so tiny. I wish it was bigger. And Barry's nose is covered here. This shouldn't be here. I wish we had the nose open. For me, Wally West is my main Flash. I love Wally so much, and Wally usually has his nose covered. With this one though, they went ahead and covered Barry's, but it doesn't look all that bad. I love the wings on the side of the cowl as well. The muscle suit is a little too extra padded. It looks really big and bulky, but also when we see them using the test version of this suit, you can tell John Wesley Shipp's traps are really that big. So they might be adding a little bit of muscle padding. I mean, I know they are just a little bit, but he has the physique underneath to make it work, so it doesn't really stand out to me all that much. The muscle padding though looks really bad on the Pollux suit. I love the blue though. I love the silver as well. But on his main Flash suit, we have the gold belt fully connected as well as the lightning bolts on the arm. The only thing it's missing though is the wings on the boots, and the boots are red. I don't know why. I really like this like felt slash velvety texture that the suit has, especially for the 90s. It works really well. It's crazy that for like a real solid attempt on a Flash suit done for TV, it looks as good as this. I wish people love this suit more than what they do. It's criminally underrated. Moving on to the number 5 spot, we have the Flash suit from season 2 and 3. We finally get the white background here on the emblem. This is pretty much the same suit as the season 1 suit. There are some subtle differences, like with the white background. The belt is red though. I don't really like that, but again, it still has that yellow piping, so it looks great with that. Overall though, just having that white background makes the suit look so much better. I just wish it was bigger, and I will say the color of the red looks to be tweaked a little bit. It's not as maroon as it is with the season 2 suit, but on the back side of this suit, there are still a lot of leather lines here. I don't really like it all that much. I really hate leather suits. I'm sorry guys, I really am. I wish I could like them. That's honestly part of why I haven't made a ranking of the Arrow suits yet, because I'm not gonna be kind to a lot of them or majority of them, and I don't want the entire video just to be me ripping on the suits. Alrighty, and at the number 4 spot, we have Ezra Miller's suit from Justice League and the Snyder Cut. I love this suit so much. The one thing about it though that I can never get behind is the fact that they tried coming off and saying that this suit was made from airplane parts. I don't buy it. To me, it doesn't look like that. All of the wires holding it all together, I mean, it's a cool thought behind it, but in its execution, I don't think works all that well. It is cool though that the lightning kind of channels through it. I will give it some points for that. But with the belt here, we have the lightning bolt sort of, and it's not connected, as well as on the arms, it's only on the tops. And around the sides of the knees, we have these lightning bolts here. Instead of it being on the boots, it kind of works, and it also kind of connects to like the top of his ankles. I don't really know. It's a weird kind of design, but I kind of like it, as well as having the darker tone underneath. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's a black. I think it's more of like a dark burgundy, but it looks really good, as well as this cowl. I don't know why. I love how streamlined it looks, especially too, they were able to add in the wings on the side without it being over the top. But the Flash logo, we don't have any white there. It is a little bit small. I would have liked it to be bigger. Overall though, for the DCEU and the armored suits that they had gone for and the more Injustice kind of style they were going for, I think this suit is honestly pretty solid. I don't know why they got rid of it for the Flash movie. They could have just updated it, maybe got rid of some of the armor, made it more streamlined, and I feel like it could have worked so much better. I don't know why with this suit, they also have this weird looking codpiece. This reminds me of the Joel Schumacher Parker Robin suit. I don't know why they had to focus on this piece of deal there. They could have just made it flat and not really made a big deal about it, but the fact that they have it armored makes it stand out, which is really weird to me. Next up, at the number 3 spot, we have Grant Gustin's season 6 and season 7 Flash suit. I love it so much. This is one of my favorite Flash suits we've ever gotten. We have the gold belt, we have the lightning bolts on the arms. It also works with the gloves once again. We have all this yellow piping going up the suit, and it doesn't feel over-designed. The white background is there as well. It could be bigger once again. This cowl, though, is leagues better than the season 5 cowls that we'd gotten. It looks so good. I love that we have the wings on the side as well, and they actually are wings. They're extruding out the sides, and we have this lightning bolt texture going up the front, but you can see some white underneath from the face shell. Overall, though, it looks great. We have the chin strap, but for the love of God, the Flash is supposed to be the fastest man alive. Why the fuck does he have to have nanotech? Out of all the characters in DC and Marvel, the Flash is one that should not have it. He can literally pull the hood over his head faster than anyone can blink. He's not Tony Stark, he's not Black Panther, he's not Bruce Wayne. He shouldn't have it. It almost makes more sense for Oliver out of all people to have it because he's rich as shit. But even then, I absolutely hate the fact that I just said that too. I love this suit so much though, I just really hate this addition. And Grant just looks so unbelievably happy to be wearing it. But once again, don't have gold boots here. I wish we would get them with more Flash suits.
Where'd that come from?
It's nanotech. You like it? A little something.
Alrighty, at the number 2 spot, we have John Wesley Shipp's Earth 90 Flash suit that we had seen in Crisis. I fucking love this suit so much. It would probably be at my number 1 spot. But there's one thing holding it back. We don't have the gold boots or the wings on the boots. We just have these darker brown / burgundy boots, and they work with the suit. But with that, they tone down the muscle padding. I think this is perfect. It takes the 90s suit and updates it and does it so much justice. Again, the one thing I wish here was having that bigger white background on the logo. If we had that, I would say this suit is literally perfect along with the gold boots. We have the lightning bolt connected belt, love it, and as well as on the arms. This is awesome, and it goes fully around. I like that too. We have the wings, and dude, seeing the suit on screen, I was so happy. It looks fucking amazing. I'm so happy. I want to see Wally West wearing the suit in the DCU, maybe without the felt texture, if they could do it with Grant Gustin's season 9 suit texture. If they were to use that material with this and the muscle suit, dude, fucking take my money right now. Alrighty, and now finally at the number 1 spot, we have the season 8 and 9 suit with the golden boots. I love this suit so much. This is to me the perfect Flash suit. I want to see this in the DCU. We have the gold boots. We have the lightning bolt around the belt. We have the white background with the lightning bolt. We have the wings on the ears. Everything that I would possibly want from a Flash suit we have in this, minus the wings on the boots, but I don't even care. We finally have the gold boots. Grant Gustin looks so proud to be in the suit, especially with everything on it, and I feel just as proud. No matter what anyone says, this suit to me will always be my favorite Flash suit. I would love to see it return in the DCU, maybe just updated with the material to whatever they're going to use, but I love it so much. This is the perfect Barry Allen suit to me. I would love some little tweaks, and we can make this Wally suit as well, or take John Wesley Shipp's suit for Wally. I don't care. I love this one so much. With all that being said, that was my ranking. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop it. I grew up with the DCAU, so to me, Wally West is my Flash. I never really cared for Barry Allen all that much. Grant Gustin does a great job as the character, but Ezra Miller really ruined it for me. It also kind of sucks because I had seen Ezra Miller as the Flash first before Grant, and I really wish I didn't. I'm so excited that the DCU is going to be going with Wally West as the main Flash. You saw him in Creature Commandos. I cannot wait to see what his suit looks like. If you have any design ideas, go ahead and drop them in the comments as well. I would love to hear what you want the DCU Flash suit to look like. Alright, now we're going to jump back to Marvel with my second favorite ranking that I've ever made, and this is ranking every suit that we had seen in the Avengers Doomsday official trailer. I made the mistake of recording this on Wednesday, right before San Diego Comic-Con, and every single day, new stuff would come out throughout the entire weekend, and I had to re-record the video over 4 times because of everything. I think it's still one of my best videos I've ever made. So every confirmed character that we have is going to be appearing in this video. People that we've had from the teasers, as well as now the official trailer, as well as casting announcements like the Doomsday Chairs video, and coming from the Marvel Wiki. It's not always 100% accurate, but the majority of the time, it's pretty spot on. If you don't want to hear me explain how I'm going to break everything down and go ahead and list the characters, go ahead and skip to this timestamp. So for everyone that'll be appearing in Avengers Doomsday, we have Sam Wilson, Captain America, Ant-Man, Cassie Lang, Shang-Chi, Loki, Love, Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, The Human Torch, The Thing, Franklin Richards, Herbie, Bucky, Yelena, Walker, Alexi, Ghost, Sentry, Black Panther, M'Baku, Namor, Namora, Atuma, Falcon, Doctor Doom, Professor X, Magneto, Beast, Cyclops, Mystique, Nightcrawler, Gambit, Steve Rogers, James Rogers, Peggy Carter, American Chavez, Doctor Strange, and Deadpool. but we've seen basically a fraction of these characters, and honestly, a good amount of these characters aren't even wearing suits. So for those, they're going to be in a category at the very bottom just because we haven't seen them. I don't really think it's fair to rank them. They're going to kick off our first category, and that is the haven't appeared yet section. And the first character to kick off this list is going to be America Chavez. I don't know if she's going to have her Camouflage uniform she had at the end or her main suit she had throughout Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I also don't know how big of a role she's been playing in this film. It's been quite a few years since we've seen her in the MCU, so if she returns, I'm assuming it'll be in a little bit of an updated suit, but who knows? Let's move on to the next one, and that is Atuma. And we know from the Bomberman set photos and from the Instagram posts that he is here, and in the trailer we'd already seen Namora, so I guarantee he's here somewhere as well, and I'm assuming just like Namora, he's gonna have his Wakanda Forever suit. I don't really think a whole bunch has changed. For the next one though, we know he's gonna be in the film, and that is Alan Cumming Nightcrawler. We've seen interviews, I've made videos upon that myself on Cantina Talk. He's definitely spoiled a couple things for this film, and I'm really excited to see what his outfit will look like. The interesting one though here is Deadpool. I don't really know where this one is coming from. I'm assuming if he shows up, it's gonna be his Deadpool and Wolverine suit, but like I said, this is the only one where I really have no clue where the hell this is coming from. Steve Rogers could not have had James Rogers without Peggy, and so she's got to be in here, and she was also one of the few confirmed characters really early on in production. We have no clue where Doctor Strange is going to be wearing or what he's really going to be looking like. He probably still is going to have the third eye. I hope he doesn't, but we have to mention that because that's the last time we saw him. And next up, starting off our regular clothes category, is James Rogers. Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter's kid, and he's just in his PJs, he's a baby, he doesn't have a suit. I'm assuming they might show him grown up towards the end of the film, or at least a little bit older, but I doubt we're gonna see him in a costume. And moving on to the same trend, we have Franklin Richards. We know he's gonna be in the film. I'm almost 100% sure Dr. Doom is gonna take him, and I would love to see him in a suit. That's probably gonna be saved for Secret Wars though, along with Valeria. Next up, we have Love, and we really only see her in the Thor teaser, where she's laying in bed wearing pajamas. Like all of these, I don't know if they're gonna have suits, but we've just seen them in the trailers, so I'm going to mention them. And the same goes for the next one, and that is Cassie Lang. I'm assuming her suit that she had in Quantumania will be returning for this one, but we only see her really wearing this hoodie with her hair dyed blonde. And with that, we're going to move on to the next character, another person in their pajamas, and this being Sentry. He's wearing this bathrobe. I'm assuming he's going to be in his normal yellow suit at some point in this film, as well as probably turn into the Void. I don't really know. He very well could be the Molecule Man replacement. I'm probably going to make a video on that in the future, but he is here. And another member of the new Avengers that is here in this list is Alexei. He is wearing this like racing suit type jumper thing. I doubt this is the suit he's gonna have in a film. Honestly, I even know it's not because he's later on in this list in the concept art section. I'm assuming this is just for a gag and it's gonna be here. We really haven't seen his full suit yet though. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next spot. And now the last person for the regular clothes category, and that is Steve Rogers, aka Man. This isn't Captain America, this isn't Nomad, this isn't Captain Hydra, this is just fucking Steve. I really hope he doesn't have this throughout the entire film. It would kind of suck. I would like to see him back in a suit. I know he's not gonna be Cap, but we gotta do something, dude. This isn't that. I mean, I'm glad he's got Mjolnir back, but he's just fucking Man. And now moving on to our official concept art section, we're gonna be going over this big spread that we had gotten at Billy World that shows a lot of these characters' designs. And the first character on this list is Red Guardian, and we can see a little bit of his new suit. There's not really a whole lot we can tell from here, besides the fact that he has a goatee and a fresh fade. That's really about it. Same goes to the next one, and that is Magneto. His helmet here looks really sick. He also kind of looks like he's wearing part of the clothes that he was wearing in the X-Men trailer, but it does seem updated too. Like Alexei's, we're hardly seeing any of it here. And lastly, in the honorable mention category, we have God of Stories Loki. If you look, he's positioned underneath Dr. Doom here, and he's wearing his costume from the season 2 finale. And if this appears in the film, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be at my number 4 spot. But because we have actual footage of him in the TVA outfit, that's going to be the main one I'm using for the video. But we have him in this concept art here. I have to mention it because I love this suit so much, and it's going to be really high up there if it appears in the film. Alrighty, now to kick off our main list, at the number 28 spot, we have Loki in his TVA uniform. It looks to be slightly updated from Loki season 2. This is just the jacket with the tie. But the only thing is though, we got some concept art from Marvel, and Loki is wearing his season 2 finale suit. So I don't really know how this is all gonna work. I'm assuming he's like in disguise as a TVA analyst. Overall though, this is basically just normal clothes. If he shows up in his God of Stories Loki suit, that'll be at the number 4 spot. But because we've only seen him in his TVA uniform, he's gonna be at the number 28 spot. Next up, at the number 27 spot, we have Herbie, and he does have some subtle changes that we'd seen in the official trailer. If you look closely here in the trailer, we can see that he now has these like glow in the dark or just light up eyes. To be honest with you, I don't really know if I'm a huge fan of these. I really liked his original eyes that he had in First Steps. I feel like everything with Herbie in that film was so unique, and just this eye change just feels so off. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but it's not really a giant change, so that is why it's here. Next up, at the number 26 spot, we have Namora, and I'm almost 100% sure that this is just her suit that she had in Wakanda Forever. We only get this one shot of her, and it looks literally identical, almost the exact same. If someone knows for sure, please let me know in the comments down below. This just looks identical, and there's not really a whole lot to go to it. It's just her suit, it's good, it works, so we're to move on. And now at number 25 spot, we have Falcon, aka Joaquin Torres. And like Sam Wilson's Captain America suit that's later down on this list, his Falcon suit is the exact same as the one in Brave New World. It honestly might be a little bit over-designed, but I don't really think it matters all that much. We have the classic colors, and in flight, this suit looks great. And with this suit, there really isn't much more to add, so I'm gonna move on. And now at the number 24 spot, we have Ava Starr, aka Ghost. Again, just like Bucky and Yelena, this is her Thunderbolts post-credit scene suit. On the top of her left shoulder, she has the new Avengers logo. I love that all these characters have it in their own place. Minus Alexi, we haven't seen a suit yet, so we don't really know where that's gonna go. The one thing that I don't really like with this suit is the new hairstyle for her. I'm sure it works. I'm sure it looks fine. To me, it's just kind of odd. Overall, we saw this entire suit throughout Thunderbolts. We got to spend some time with it. It's a suit. It works. So we're to move on. And now next up, at the number 23 spot, we have Yelena Belova, aka White Widow. And this looks like the exact same suit that we had seen from the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, where she has this olive kind of tactical uniform with the belt as well as her Widow's bites and the batons. Overall, this is a pretty good suit. There's not a whole lot to go with it. I honestly just wish they would have updated this more, especially for Avengers Doomsday. And now at our number 22 spot, we have Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, and this looks to be just his normal Fantastic Four First Step suit, but with an added jacket, and I don't really know if I like this all that much. But it's primarily all the normal Fantastic Four blue, with a darker blue border around the collar, and then with the collars being white. Honestly, I feel like this would fit with Reed Richards so much more because he doesn't have any white at all. It looks so off-putting to me. But there is another shot of him in the trailer where he's holding Franklin with the sun behind him, and he doesn't have the jacket here, so I don't think it's gonna last very long. Here's the hoping anyway. And now moving on to our number 21 spot, we have John Walker, U.S. Agent. This is just his new Thunderbolts post-credit scene U.S. Agent suit. He has the new Avengers logo on the opposite side of Bucky's, and his shield is still bent like a taco. I kind of hope that they fix this. I don't really want him to go throughout the entire movie having folded shield. The gag is great and all, but I really hope they fix it. And as well, I hope they give him back his helmet. The bray is alright, I guess. I don't really like it on him. It looks really weird on Wyatt's head. And I think the helmet that he had in Thunderbolts looked probably the best. It looked really weird in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I don't want that one. But this one was updated and it fit his face more. Thank you to Degree and FIFA for sponsoring this video. This package just arrived at my house. Let's go ahead and unbox it all together. So right away when I opened it up, I could tell that this was from Degree. I'm pretty sure it's Degree as in like Degree deodorant. Yeah, so this was the box that was inside. Let's go ahead and open it up. Oh my god. Okay. First things first, we have this card. FIFA and Degree, official sponsor of the World Cup 2026. So right away, there's already something sticking out here, and this is going to be the whole body deodorant. I have never really been a fan of spray deodorants. I'm gonna give this one a shot. I've just never really honestly tried these. I haven't really had a reason to. Oh, there's another one. Degree World Cup Cool Rush. So that's another one we got. Okay, I think this is it. So this is the third one. We have Degree 3-in-1. I'm honestly kind of excited to try all of these, so let's go ahead and do so. I grew up playing soccer a lot and was a fan of FIFA, and it was always fun playing the games, and it was really cool to get a package from them. When I was told this was getting sent out to me, I was kind of shocked. Once again, thank you so much to FIFA and Degree for sending this out to me. With it being said, let's get back to the ranking. And now, at our number 20 spot, we have Mystique. Right off the bat, I love that Rebecca Romijn is back, and I also love that they tried to make her comic book look, but I feel like these blue parts should not have been a leathery material, or even not have them at all. I don't need Mystique to be basically running around naked like she was in the previous films, but I would like to have more of her comic book costume implemented into the suit. Like, I understand the blue padding, but I feel like it just shouldn't be there. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. And another thing I noticed with the blue portions, there's this little diamond in the center, and it looks like the same material as Supergirl's first suit and James Gunn's Superman. If you look at the skirt, if you put these two side by side, to me, they look nearly identical, like the piece was taken from that, and I really feel like it shouldn't, especially for Mystique. Enough complaining though, I love this suit so much, especially the headpiece with the hair, and the makeup looks great too, and there's this X-Men belt on here, and I really love it as well. I'm just glad that she's back, and we have a suit for her. And now at our number 19 spot, we have Shang-Chi. His suit is primarily the same as it is in his movie, but there are some subtle upgrades to it. Now he has his belt, as well as these baggy pants with the straps hanging down, and some new shoes. I liked his original suit, it just felt like there was something missing, and it was overall just a very simplified design, and this was a great way to update it. The only thing I'd like to see here is just some green in the suit. But overall though, it's great. He has the 10 rings, they look the exact same. I want to see more of this fight, and I cannot wait for him to get a sequel movie. And now moving on to our number 18 spot, we have Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. And pretty much this is just his Fantastic Four First Step suit. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot throughout the video. A lot of these suits are just their suits they had in the previous films or the most recent project they showed up in. And that's not a bad thing. If the suits work, we don't need to make giant changes to them and over-design the fuck out of them in the future just to sell toys. If they work, let them get used, let them get beat up and rugged, and then you can give us a new suit. Don't just give us new suits to give us new suits. I feel like this is kind of an example of it. Minus Reed not really having any white on his Fantastic Four suit from First Steps, I thought it was overall pretty good, but now we have this jacket, and out of all three of the jackets that the characters have, this may be the best. Zeus may be a little bit better. It just shouldn't be on Reed. If you're gonna give him a coat at all, just give him the lab coat. Overall though, this isn't bad. We do see him sneaking around the X-Mansion though, and he is wearing it, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna stay probably for the majority of the film. It's just nothing special. They just added a jacket. And then moving on to the number 17 spot, we have the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes. And this is just his new Avengers suit that we had seen at the end of Thunderbolts. I love the big red star on the shoulder, as well as the new Avengers logo on the chest. I love the bracers he has on his one wrist, and the straps he has looks like he ties everything together, including his leg holster. Overall, this is a pretty solid Winter Soldier suit, especially for him being part of a team, and that vibranium armor contrasts really well with the rest of the colors in this suit. And then moving on to our number 16 spot, we have Ant-Man, aka Scott Lang. And honestly, I think this was one of the few suits to be completely brand new. Maybe? This looks to be a mix of the Civil War suit, the Endgame suit, the Ant-Man and the Wasp suit, as well as the Quantumania suit. It's kind of an amalgamation of all three, and besides the original Ant-Man suit, this is probably the second best looking one. I'm glad that it's a practical suit once again. I hope the helmet isn't nanotech. We finally don't have this over-designed fucking chest area over here. It looks great. The paneling is not that bad, and the belt and the bracers look good too. Like I had said, I think this is the best looking Ant-Man suit, minus the original one. And there's not really a whole bunch more to add. It's good. It's great. It works. Let's move on. And now moving on to our number 15 spot, we have Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. We have her regular Fantastic Four suit, but with this jacket added. This is more of like a puffer jacket. And the first thing I noticed with the jacket is that there are 3 shades of blue here, going from darkest to lightest, going up to white. And I think it works the best and looks the best on her. Honestly, I think this might even be the best jacket out of the 3. And if anyone should have them, I think it makes the most sense for her. Ultimately though, I wish it wasn't here, but for her, I'm fine with it. Now moving on to our number 14 spot, we have Charles Xavier, aka Professor X. I love that we finally got this dude wearing a jacket with the X-Men logo. This looks great, and he's no longer wearing just a business suit. And Iron Studios had released some new 1/10 scale figures, and we can see the full look at Charles here. He has a turtleneck and this blue jacket, as well as some dress pants and dress shoes. He has a big X-Men logo above his left pocket, and also on the belt. I love when they have it there. It's a small detail, but it really does go a long way. And we have this new chair. I honestly like the look of this one a lot. I wish they would have used the hover chair that we see in the Multiverse of Madness from the animated series, but that's just me nitpicking. This suit looks great. And now moving on to the number 13 spot, we have M'Baku. And he gets an entire redesign here, and I love his new suit so much. The turquoise really pops with the tan, and he also has this scarf and these tassels. I know not a lot of people like this suit as well as Shuri's, but I love it. Those turquoise elements just really stand out, and I think it's a good contrast with the tan. We haven't really seen a whole lot of it though. I would like to see more of it as well as Shuri's. M'Baku also has the fresh fade, and the suit is pretty fitting for him being king. Next up, at the number 12 spot, we have Nightcrawler. I'm so glad that Alan Cumming is back. He looks great, at least in this concept art. The white hair is very interesting. I guarantee they're doing it to show that he has aged since X2. And along with that, we got a better look at his suit with the minifigure that released. And we can definitely see here with the jacket, there's the big X-Men logo, as well as on the belt. And it looks like the jacket's gonna go all the way down through his shins. And he has these striped pants. So far though, his suit looks pretty good. And like in the concept art, we have the gray hair. It is a very interesting choice. I'm kind of waiting to see how it looks in the film. But if we take the design of this minifig into account, I think this is overall a pretty solid suit. Alright, next up, at our number 11 spot, we have Magneto. We only have seen him in the trailer wearing this robe as well as like hoodie situation, but we know he'll have his helmet, we know he'll have a suit, and with that, his official Avengers Doomsday hot toy had come out, and we got a way better look at his suit. I'm pretty sure he was just wearing it in the trailer, but it looked really ragged compared to this one, but this helmet looks awesome. I love the purple elements on here, along with having the horns. Last time we saw anything close to this was probably at the end of X-Men First Class, but let's move on to the suit. First thing that jumped out at me is that Magneto is wearing an X-Men belt. I love that he has this. It's very rare that we actually see him wearing an X-Men uniform, and I'm so glad that it's here. It looks like the outer layer of his cape is this gray material that kind of looks like wool in the trailer, but underneath we have this suit. There isn't really a whole lot going on the chest, but we have these kind of silver ab lines, as well as these red pants and black boots, and the inner side of the cape here is red. The only thing that I wish was that the inner side of this was purple and not the same color red as his suit, but this is awesome, and I think this is probably Ian McKellen's best look as Magneto. You can fight me about it in the comments down below. I just love how this looks so much. And at the number 10 spot, we have the Sentinels. This is another one of the official hot toys that was released, and I think this is the first time that we've had an actual comic book accurate Sentinel depicted in live action. I will say the colors aren't fully there, but this is also definitely the best design that we've had for them so far. And with the hot toys, they had said that the lights on the Sentinel will be lighting up yellow as well as green, so I'm assuming that these are going to be controlled by Dr. Doom. I really love the purple texturing all throughout this, as well as how it's two-toned so that we are breaking up the suit. It isn't all just one color. Overall though, I love this design, and I cannot wait to see it in the film. And the scale with these Sentinels from the one shot with Cyclops look massive, as they should be, and they're gonna look so great. I can already tell, especially if the hot toy already looks this good. Now at the number 9 spot, we have Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. This is just a normal Fantastic Four first step suit minus the beard. The beard was nice. It was a great gag in the film. It worked exactly how it should. It should be a one and done thing. It shouldn't continue to carry on, and I'm glad I didn't. And all of the performance capture as well as CGI for Ben looked great, and it looks like it's only improved for Avengers Doomsday. And Ben, out of all the Fantastic cast of 4 members is the only one to not get a jacket. I mean, he's huge, so that might be part of it, and having to do everything with CG, I don't know. I don't really think there's going to be any major changes to his character, at least in this film anyway. When it comes to Secret Wars, there's probably going to be some. And at the number 8 spot, we have Kelsey Grammer's Beast. We haven't really seen much of him. I'm mainly going to be going over his appearance in the Marvel's post-credit scene. And overall, Beast looks great. He finally has the fangs. It's awesome, and I'm glad it's here. We didn't know how much of that design was going to carry over, but looking at his hot toy here, we can tell that they pretty much ripped it straight from the post-credit scene, which is great. I love that Hank has the X-Men belt once again, like the other characters and their hot toys. And he has the blue and yellow pants with the yellow trim at the bottom, and he also has his fangs. I love when these are included. We barely got to see it with the previous films. I'm glad it's here as well. The only thing though is that I wish he would have had his lab coat. I guarantee he probably will, but it'll get ripped off or something along those lines. Once again, this looks great. I cannot wait to see him in the film. Moving on to the number 7 spot, we have Black Panther, aka Shuri, and it looks like they updated her Wakanda Forever suit. I really like everything they did with this. I always loved her suit when we saw it. I understand why people say it does look a little over-designed, but I think the turquoise accents here really help with that. It breaks it up more, and I love the fact that it's all over the top of the mask. I honestly think I prefer this version of her suit more so than her Wakanda Forever one. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. The green elements on the mask, the shoulder, and the going down to the chest all look great. Quickly, I just want to let you all know that I went ahead and made a Discord server to connect with all of you better. There we talk comics, movies, gaming, theories, you name it, it is all there. If this at all interests you, go ahead and join the Comic Shop Discord server. Links are in the description and in the pinned comment down below. At the number 6 spot, we have Sam Wilson, Captain America. This is literally just the same suit as the Brave New World one, but I love that suit and I loved it in the movie. It looks great. I wish we'd have the white, but I understand why we're not. I like that we had it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, although I think I prefer this one. This is more of his stealth suit, I guess, and I think it looks the best out of all the suits he's had so far. I just hope to God he doesn't have a nanotech helmet anymore, but knowing how the MCU is, he's probably gonna still have it. And with that being said, we're gonna move on. And now moving on to the number 5 spot, we have Thor's new suit. This suit is quite literally the exact same as his Infinity War suit. All of the patterns and lines on the suit are the exact same. The bracers are as well, and the cape. Really, the only change here is that the discs on his armor are gold instead of this chrome, and it's also currently on display at San Diego Comic-Con. I think the gold really stands out here. My only thing is, we had a perfect Thor suit in Love and Thunder for literally 3 fucking minutes. This suit should have been his main one, I think, for this movie. It's kind of a shame that it's literally just the Infinity War suit with one little change. Maybe it's just me. I love the fur in the back of the suit. It feels like Thor, especially with him not having his helmet anymore. Fuck that Love and Thunder helmet. I don't know what the hell they were doing with that one. I'm glad that one's not here. Overall though, his suit in this movie looks pretty sick. And with that, we're gonna move on. And at the number 4 spot, we have Channing Tatum's Gambit. His suit primarily is the exact same as the Deadpool Wolverine one, but once again, thanks to SDCC and Brandon Davis, we can see here that he has an updated belt with the X-Men logo. I'm so glad this is here. I'm glad that Channing Tatum's Gambit was able to get out of the void through a Doctor Strange portal and now become a member of the X-Men and finally find his home. I never hated this suit in Deadpool Wolverine when it first came out. If you didn't know, Channing Tatum was filming Blink twice at the exact same time as his appearance in Deadpool Wolverine, so there wasn't any time for him to slim down. And he since has and looks great as Gambit in this film. I can't wait to see more of his fight with Shang-Chi. And now moving on to the number 3 spot, we have Namor the Submariner. His suit got a complete redesign, and I love this so much. This looks fucking sick. First thing right off the bat is this high collar, and there's also this giant gold belt buckle that helps with that too. I love the gold accents everywhere on the arms and in the bracers and this belt buckle. And his suit was also on display at San Diego Comic-Con, and we got a better look of it. I don't like how the bottom of this is kind of like a skirt. I don't know, it just looks really weird, especially for Namor. If this was just a trench coat, I feel like that would have looked really sick. But I will say, I really love how much the blue shows up, especially with all this green around it, and it doesn't feel too overpowering. I also wonder if he has new vibranium wings or if he was able to grow his back. I'm not entirely sure. There is a shot of him flying, so I know that we'll definitely find out. Now at the number 2 spot, we have James Marsden's Cyclops. Without a doubt, this is one of the best suits to come out of Avengers Doomsday. I'm so glad that James Marsden's back and he's finally getting to don an actual fucking suit. And in the December trailer, the yellow really stood out against everything else with the suit, and it was so good to see it. And with the official trailer, we got to see more of the suit, and this suit is currently on display at San Diego Comic-Con. Shout out Brandon Davis, this footage is from him, and we can see here that the yellow on the boots isn't yellow, it's more of like a brown. It's kind of an odd choice, but in the trailer, it looks to be almost the same color yellow, like you can't tell the difference. I was honestly kind of wishing more for his visor, like I had the cups on the ears, but overall, this works, and once again, like some other characters, he got a Hot Toys reveal, and the brown boots make so much more sense now. He will have a brown jacket in the film, and it completes the look. Originally, I was gonna hate on the fact that he had brown boots a little bit, and with some of these action shots with the Hot Toys, I think the jacket really pops, along with the blue and yellow. It works, it matches, I understand it so much more. There are only really 3 changes that I would make here. Give him the trunks, give him the same shade of yellow on the boots, as well as put the ear cups on the visor. That's it, and I would say the suit is pretty much perfect. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom, aka Dr. Doom. This suit is fucking peak. We got some new shots of him in the trailer with the armor, and it looks really great on screen. And it also matches the promo material that we've been getting, so we know that this is Dr. Doom's suit. This looks like Doom, it sounds like Doom, it feels like Doom, and I'm so glad. I cannot wait to see more of this. Looking at a suit, the cloak is awesome as well as the mask. It's kind of an amalgamation of a couple different masks to make their own, and I think it works great. We have the chainmail here, and the clasps on this cloak. I think these two, along with the one in the back of his hand, are enchantments on his armor, and that's probably why he stops Stormbreaker with just 2 fingers. The pattern going down the middle of the suit also is great, and we have this belt buckle. Besides the 90s Fantastic Four film, this is the first time we've had an actual Dr. Doom suit, like the comics, and we're finally going for it. I think this is probably going to be the best suit that we see in the movie. At least for me, so far it is, and there's not really much more to say. Especially too, Doom is getting his own hot toy as well as his throne, and both of these look so sick, and it appears with the hot toy we might also see Doom have the Darkhold. I'm really interested to see how that's all going to tie in, but especially with these Hot Toys photos, this suit looks so good, and I cannot wait to see it in action in the film. If you read the books of Doom, I hope we get some of the story told in the movie. It's great, and I kind of think they're going to dive into it a little bit. But with that being said, that was my ranking. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop it. I cannot wait to see more of Avengers Doomsday and Dr. Doom. Like I had said, go read the books of Doom if you haven't. I think it'll really help set Victor Von Doom apart from Tony Stark in your mind going into Doomsday, because for some people, I know it's gonna be hard to differentiate Iron Man from Dr. Doom, especially if they have the same face. This might help a little bit with that. So sticking with the trend, we're gonna go back to DC, and now we have ranking every single live-action Superman suit. If you're an OG of the channel, this is one of the first rankings I had made. I think it honestly is the first one, if I'm not mistaken. So without further ado, let's start off in last place with Dean Cain's black suit from Lois and Clark. Now, the only thing I really like about this suit is the blue, which it's not even supposed to be there. It's supposed to be silver to begin with. I don't know what they're really going for with this. I feel like it entirely missed the mark. This feels like a suit that you can get at Party City. I swear I've seen this suit sitting up on a shelf before when I was 6 years old looking for a cheap Halloween costume. That's exactly how this feels, and that is why it is at the last place. Next, we have a combination of about 3 suits. That's gonna be Kirk Allen, George Reeves, and the Adventures of Superboy's suit, which technically isn't a Superman suit, it's a Superboy suit, but I'm still gonna count it. These are the first Superman suits that we've ever seen. They definitely are a product of their time, and with that, they are dated. And that is why they're towards the end on this list, solely just because the times have changed so much since then. These were probably great at the time for what we had gotten, but they just don't hold up to any other suits on this list. And going back to Dean Cain, we now have his classic suit from Lois and Clark. Like I had said before, this looks like a cheap Party City costume suit. I don't know why they went with the material they did. It looks super fake. The cape looks like it was made out of tablecloth. It has that like thin, kind of like opaque look to it. I don't know why they went with that material, and ultimately it didn't help the suit at all, and that is why it is staying exactly where it is, towards the bottom of this list. At the number 26 spot, we have 2 suits once again, and these are Nicolas Cage's unused suits from his Superman movie with Tim Burton. The classic suit looked a lot better than the rejuvenation suit, or whatever they were even going to call this suit. This was like their version of the black suit. It looks really interesting to say the least. The concept art is really wild. But now coming back to the classic suit, I like this design. I feel like for the time, the definition of the muscle padding is a little much. It's a little extra, and I don't even know what these trunks are. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. These are definitely some odd looking trunks, but hey, it's a classic Superman suit. It doesn't look that bad, and arguably it might have looked good on screen. Who knows? We're never gonna find out. Next, we have Ben Affleck's suit from Hollywoodland, where he plays George Reeves. Now, this is very similar to George Reeves' actual suit, but there are some differences. That's why it's on here, and it's also a little bit updated, and it doesn't look bad on Ben Affleck. He's still to this day the only actor to both play Batman and Superman, if you count this role. I think this suit definitely is better than Dean Cain's suit to begin with, as well as Nick Cage's suits, but that is really where it belongs, on the bottom with these as well. And now in a giant leap forward, we have Tom Welling's suit from the end of Smallville. This looks very similar, to me at least anyway, to Brandon Routh's suit, which is next. Now, we barely even saw this suit at all in Smallville. It was teased at the very end, and there was little parts throughout that episode. I really wish we got to see Tom Welling in the full suit, but the fact that we never see Tom in the suit is why I'm kind of leaving it lower on this list. Next, we have Brandon Routh's suit from Superman Returns. Now, this was the first Superman suit that I ever wore as a costume growing up. I love this suit so much, but it definitely has its problems, and it's dated for sure. First of all, the red here is more of a burgundy. In certain shots, it almost looks brown, which is kind of weird. It shouldn't look like that for a Superman suit. Also, the House of L sigil is everywhere on the suit, minus the places it actually needs to be. Starting off, we have it in the belt here. We have it on the boots, the soles of the boots. It's also in the texturing of the suit itself, but there's nothing on the cape, and the chest logo looks super small. I am going to throw an honorable mention next to this, and that being his Kryptonian suit that he gets when he arrives on Earth. I really like how this looks, but it's not a Superman suit, so that's why it's only going to be an honorable mention with this, but I still like its design. Next, we have John Newton and Gerard Christopher's suits from Superboy. Again, this isn't a Superman suit, it's Superboy, but it's very similar to Christopher Reeve's, but there are slight adjustments when Christopher replaced Newton in the role, and that being the House of L sigil is a little bit more straight and it's not crooked, and that's really about it. This is just a cheaper version of Christopher Reeve's suit, and that's why it is where it is on this list, and also, it's not even really a Superman suit to begin with, but I still think it's better than the Brandon Routh suit. Hey, we have the trunks, we have the red, yellow, and blue, and it's actually red this time and not burgundy. Alright, next on this list, we have Nick Cage's suit from The Flash. Now, I don't even know if this suit was even real to begin with or if it was entirely CG. I don't really care. The Flash was terrible, but one thing we got was finally seeing Nicolas Cage on screen as Superman, and it looks about as you'd expect. But I do think this suit is better than the previous suits that he had worn for his screen tests as Superman for Tim Burton's unmade Superman movie. But that's really all I gotta say about it. It has trunks, it has the cape, it has the big House of L sigil, but it has Nick Cage with long hair looking pretty uncanny. Alrighty, next up, I don't even know if I can call this a Superman suit, but I'm gonna include it. It is Tom Welling's suit from Smallville, the main one he wears throughout the show, where he has the jacket with the House of L sigil kind of etched into it. It's just a leather jacket with a blue sheer underneath. That's really about it, but I will say, it's a lot better than all these other costumes, in my opinion. The only one I could possibly make an argument for fitting better here would be Brandon Routh's suit from Superman Returns. Again, the fact that it's not red really, I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. Alrighty, and a giant leap forward once again, we have Tyler Hoechlin's suit from Supergirl. This version of the suit takes inspiration from Injustice. I think it could have been executed a lot better, and it very well could be because this is Tyler Hoechlin's first outing as Superman, but this suit just doesn't look like it fits him that well. I wish we got the trunks with this, but again, it's Injustice Superman, so I understand why we didn't. But I will say, I really hate how the cape connects here. It just doesn't look that great, and I wish they would have gave him just a different suit. Next, we have the black suit from Smallville. Again, this isn't like a full Superman suit, but it looks a lot better than the previous suits. I kind of like the trench coat idea that they're going for here, and with the t-shirt underneath, it works for a black suit. It was cool for what we got and for the time, but again, this isn't a Superman suit, so I can't rank it any higher on this list. Alright, again, taking a big leap forward, we have Henry Cavill's Justice League suit. I don't know what went wrong with this suit. It was great in BVS, but then it got taken even further and it looks really bad now. The saturation is turned up to 12,000 here, and we can really see the silver muscle suit underneath, and you really shouldn't be able to. The blue looks kind of off with it. Overall, it just makes the suit feel really over-designed, which it shouldn't because it didn't feel that way previously. Following this, we're gonna have the short appearance of the suit in Shazam. It's just a BVS suit, but a little bit brighter. The yellow on the House of L sigil is a little bit more saturated, and that's why I'm even having here to begin with, because it is slightly different, but it's still not perfect. It definitely has the muscle padding issue once again, where you can see the silver muscle suit coming through, but I do think it's better than the Justice League suit, so that is why it is listed higher. Next, we have Tyler Hoechlin's Elseworlds suit. Now, this is just his Injustice suit that we had seen previously, but now we have a color here, and honestly, this looks so much better in the black, and even when it's reused in Superman Lois, I think it looks even better, and I do think it is a little bit different. They definitely seem like they had updated it when it showed up in the show, but it still has the weird cape attachments, so because of that, I'm leaving it here, but it definitely is better than the Justice League suit, especially with it being all black. It just hides a lot of the issues I had with this suit previously. And speaking of Tyler Hoechlin, we have the Season 4 suit from Superman and Lois. Now, I really love this suit. I just wish the blue wasn't almost black. It looks really dark here, and you can't even tell it's blue half the time. I think if they were to take the blue from the Season 3 suit and put it on this, it would be perfect. Maybe minus having the black texturing on there for the muscles, but the color is perfect. I think it's just a little too dark for Superman. I also understand because he had died in the season and he was brought back to life, so it's kind of like his black suit, but kind of not. Speaking of Superman and Lois, we're gonna go to the Season 2 suit. Now, this is just an updated version of the Season 1 suit, but for some reason, this suit just kind of lacks in comparison to Season 1, but I do think the blue of the Season 1 suit looks better. I don't know what it is. Something just looks off with the Season 2 suit, and that is why I'm having a little bit lower here. And speaking of the Season 1 suit, we're now gonna move on to that. I really like this suit. I just wish it had trunks, especially because we saw the Fleischer suit and that had trunks, and then we went to this and it has no trunks. The belt kind of looks a little weird, and that's also why I'm kind of leaving it a little bit lower on this list. I do like the two-tone that they used for the blues. The House of L sigil is also stitched into it, so it kind of looks weird. Honestly, if we were to get this suit with trunks and with the Season 4 and Season 3 House of L sigil, I think it would be perfect. But there's still some things holding it back, and that is why it's at the number 12 spot on this list. Next, we have Christopher Reeve's suits as Superman. I love these suits growing up. They look great. I will say for the time, this classic suit is awesome. It looks great. It looks great on Christopher Reeve. He really made it fit well, especially when Henry Cavill put it on for a screen test, and that's because it was made obviously for Christopher Reeve, but he fills out the suit. He feels like Superman. Cavill in the suit doesn't. But I will say it's definitely dated, and it doesn't hold up to the suits later on, but I really love the colors here, they pop. I also just have an issue with it being fabric. It looks too fake. Again, for the time, it worked perfectly. Next, we have Tyler Hoechlin's Season 3 suit. I think this just looks better. Again, minus the texturing for the muscles. I don't know why they added that there, but the colors here really pop, and I really love how the House of El sigil looks. It looks better than the Seasons 2 and 1 suit. I really think the muscle texturing is what brings it down for me. Alright, next we have the suit from BVS. I will say it is still a little bit dark, but it works well, and I think this is the best Henry Cavill's suit had looked pre-Black Adam. The blues are really blue here, and I love it. I also love his cape in this. They had updated the boots from Man of Steel, and I really love how they look, but I do think there are some better picks later on, so I'm going to leave this at the number 9 spot for now. And speaking of Henry Cavill, now we're going to talk about the Man of Steel suit. I really love this suit, especially in the behind the scenes. You can tell that it's really blue, and in the movie it's not as blue as it should be, but I really love the House of El sigil here. It was changed for BVS, it has a line through it then, but in this movie it doesn't, and I think it looks better. I will say it is a little on the smaller side, but it still works great, and if this suit had trunks, I think it would be close to perfect. Although the color correction also kind of brings it down a little bit. This was also the first iteration of the suit, and the best version of it with the silver muscle padding underneath. It was still there, but it wasn't as obvious as it is in the Justice League suit, and with that being said, I think the Man of Steel suit is honestly super slept on. Sticking with Henry Cavill, we're gonna now move on to his black suit from the Snyder Cut. Now, this is just the BVS/Justice League suit, but changed to be black in post. This wasn't ever a real suit. This is without a doubt one of the best black suits we've ever gotten. There's not much more I even want to say besides it's literally almost perfect. And it's definitely not the last Henry Cavill suit on this list. Which leads us to our number 6 spot, and that being his suit that we saw in Black Adam. We barely saw him in this film. It was in the post-credit scene, but this was without a doubt the best Henry Cavill's classic suit has ever looked. The colors here are fucking amazing. I love the yellow, I love the red, and I really love the blue. They used the Man of Steel suit for this and in post changed the colors. Why didn't this suit have this color from the get-go? This is the best that Henry Cavill's classic suit has ever looked. And you can fight me about it in the comments down below. Alrighty, moving on to the number 5 spot, we have Brandon Routh's suit from Crisis on Infinite Earths, his Kingdom Come version. I love this suit. This is literally ripped off of the page. I love the House of El sigil with the red and black, and I also love the black belt with the red trunks. It looks really good. Also, Brandon Routh being in the suit looks great, and it's a giant redemption from his Superman Returns suit. If you want to do comic book recreations, this is how you should do it. It is perfect. Now at the number 4 spot, we have Henry Cavill's black suit from Man of Steel. Now, this is different from his black suit in Zack Snyder's Justice League. We can see in the behind the scenes here that this is his Man of Steel suit, but all black. I think this is the best black suit that we've ever gotten. I'll still go back and forth between this suit and the Snyder Cut version, but I really love this one. All my issues with the black suit from the Snyder Cut have been fixed, and we barely got to see it, which is a shame. At the number 3 spot, we have David Corenswet's suit from James Gunn's Superman. I really love this suit. I wasn't one of the people that were hating on it when we first got the set photo when it came out, and there are some creases, and I don't really like that for Superman, but we have the trunks, we have the classic suit, we got the logo on the cape. I've been wanting that for years. I'm glad we got it. I also really love the baby blue that they used. I will say though, the lines on the torso need to go. There's this redesign that I saw of it that looks absolutely perfect, and I would love to see this redesign used in the future, but if we just stick with this, I wouldn't be too opposed. At the number 2 spot, we have Brandon Routh's finale suit from Crisis. At the very end, we see this thing, and it is absolutely beautiful. I love almost everything about this. We have the Kingdom Come suit. I guarantee though that belt on the trunks is yellow with the yellow on the crest. I will say the red is a little dull here, and also the cape kind of looks like it's made out of like a tarp material, and I don't like that. But if you're gonna do a classic suit, especially with the Kingdom Come logo, this is how you should do it. And now finally, at the number 1 spot, we have the Fleischer suit from Superman and Lois. It is a crime that we barely got to see this suit in the show. I love it so much, and the fact that they teased us with this, with the trunks, and then just gave us the regular season 1 suit without the trunks was a shame. I wish we got to use this suit for half of the season, maybe even the full season, before going to season 2 and giving him that regular suit. I love everything about this. My first Superman was the Fleischer serials from the 40s. My grandpa showed me that growing up. I watched those VHS tapes so much, I think we had to get rid of them. I'm probably biased and blinded by nostalgia, but this is my favorite Superman suit. That was my ranking of all of the live-action Superman suits that we've gotten throughout the years. I'd love to hear what your ranking is in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop it. I am so excited for the future of Superman, and especially too, we're definitely gonna get some more banging suits, and I cannot wait. Well, we have Superman, let's stick with the super family and move on to ranking every single live-action Supergirl suit. With all that being said, there are a ton of suits on this list, so let's start off in last place with Supergirl's suit that we have in Smallville. Now, I don't even know if we can really call this a suit to begin with, but I did include Tom Welling's Smallville suits in my Superman video, so I went ahead and included this as well. There is another design that I'm more inclined to call a suit, and that being this one towards the end of the show. I really love how this looks. Even though it's not like a full suit, we have the red, yellow, and blue. It looks great, and for it being Smallville and with the suits we'd gotten in the show, this just fits in perfectly. Alrighty, moving on to the next spot, we have the prototype suits that we had seen in season 1 of Supergirl. Now, there's a very quick shot that we got of this suit. I'm not even really going to count this. And then we have the next one with Kara's shirt without the Superman logo, and she had these really odd boots. This is honestly just a prototype suit. Isn't really going to hold up with any of the others on this list. So I figured it was only fair to put it here. And with that, we're going to move on to the next one, and that being Supergirl's protective suit that she gets in season 4 and appears in a couple other episodes throughout the rest of the series. I just really don't like this suit. I don't like the helmet. I don't like the almost football padding. I understand why it's there, is to help with Kara's kryptonite poisoning. I just feel like this suit could have looked better. She looks really goofy to me when the helmet is on and she's running around. It looks very top heavy, and it doesn't feel that practical, even though it's fully practical to begin with. Alrighty, in a giant leap forward, once again, we have another Supergirl series suit, and this being her Overgirl version. This takes her normal Supergirl suit and improves it in almost every way. I really don't like the red lines on her suit normally, but it really works with this, especially with the red and black contrast. Anytime that a red and black suit is made and done, it always looks great. Those two colors just complement each other perfectly. But with that though, this suit kind of feels like an action figure. It feels almost too fake in a way, and that's why it's a little bit lower here on this list, but I still think it's a giant leap forward compared to other suits in this video. Moving on to the number 8 spot, we have the Red Daughter suit, once again from the Supergirl TV show. I really love how this looks, especially for an alternate suit, and weirdly enough, this feels more put together and more high quality than the normal Supergirl suit, and I don't know what it is about it. This just feels very form-fitting, it feels high quality, it feels like the budget was there to actually make the suit and make it work right, and I don't feel like Kara's regular suit in the show stands up to this one at all. With that being said, we're gonna move on to the next spot, and that being our classic Supergirl suit from the 1984 film. I mean, this suit is pretty much perfect. Besides the fact that it looks like cloth, that's really my only gripe with it. But again, it's the 80s, it's a product of its time, just like the Christopher Reeve suit, and I really love it for what it is. I mean, they got everything right with the suit. We got the boots, we got the color, we got the skirt. There isn't much more that I could possibly ask for, besides it feeling more real. But even then, this is the 80s. I guarantee it was great for the time, and it still looks great now. Alrighty, moving on to the number 6 spot, we have Supergirl's suit in season 5, her new nanotech suit, and I gotta say, I really love this, and I kind of wish this was the main suit that she had gotten throughout the entire show from the get-go. I understand why it's not, but I love this one so much more than her original suit, but there's still a couple things on the original suit that I like a little bit more. With that being said though, I love that we have a full suit. We have the full pants and long sleeves here. The shade of blue that they used here was great, and also too, I really love how this cape looks on screen and how it feels and flows, but the fact that the suit uses nanotech really bugs me. Supergirl, along with Superman, out of all characters, should not have it. We've seen it so much in the MCU, and I know it made its way over to the CW. Barry shouldn't have it either. It just looks stupid in my opinion. And because of that, it's gonna be lower here on this list. Alrighty, at the number 5 spot, we have Alex Danvers' Supergirl suit. Now, to be honest, this suit is very short-lived. I don't even know if I can count this, but I'm going to. I love the blue with the black, especially with the black hair. Everything about this suit is perfect for an alternate suit. I wouldn't want it as the main continuity Supergirl suit, but this color combo is sick, and I'm glad it got used. Anytime that black pairs up with a really bright color, it always looks great, and this is one of the few CW shows that really nailed their suits right off the bat, especially with this one. I really wish we got to see a little bit more of it. Alrighty, and at the number 4 spot, we have Millie Alcock's Supergirl suit from James Gunn's Superman. Now, before you go to the comments, this is not the same suit that we see in the Supergirl movie. There are some big changes to it. It looks very similar, but it's not the same. Starting off, we got an entirely new skirt and belt with this, as well as the texturing on the suit itself. From Millie's suit in Supergirl 2026 compared to her suit in this, side by side, these look entirely different, and for the better. But as her first appearance suit in the DCU, this looks great, and I really wish we got to see a little bit more of this, especially with the duster. I feel like we're still going to see that a little bit in Supergirl itself. This suit is sick. I just understand why they made the changes they did. Millie Alcock's suit, when it first showed up in Superman, looked great, but this felt like a good starting point for the suit before they go and refine it with every single appearance she'll have throughout the rest of the DCU. I guarantee by the end of it, her suit will look absolutely perfect. At least that's the hope anyway. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the number 3 spot, and that being the Supergirl suit from seasons 1 through 4 of the Supergirl show. When you think of Supergirl on the CW, this is the suit you think of, and for good reason. It's a good suit, and it changes very slightly throughout the seasons up until season 5. There's not a whole lot that needs to be changed, but to be honest, I really don't like the red lines here. It reminds me a lot of Brandon Routh's suit from Superman Returns, where it has the blue lines, and I don't really like these on super suits. I will say that is my only gripe with this, really. I like the blue, I love the red. I mean, yeah, there's not really much to complain about here. The only thing is maybe making the blue more saturated, but even then, this looks perfect, and I would take this any day. And now moving on to the number 2 spot, we have Sasha Calle's Supergirl suit from The Flash. This is literally almost the perfect, if not the most perfect Supergirl suit that we've gotten. Now, it's definitely not the most accurate. She's not wearing a skirt at all, but that's totally fine. For Henry Cavill's Superman in the DCEU, and with Sasha Calle's Supergirl being his cousin, the casting along with this suit works great and feels like it fits in entirely. We're not getting the skirt, which is fine, especially when the suit looks as good as this. And the fact that this suit is practical, and you could tell, especially in the behind the scenes, how much care went into this. I love the texturing here, I love the colors, I wish the yellow was a little bit more brighter, but I genuinely think this Supergirl suit is so slept on. It's probably one of the best suits we've gotten in the DCEU. But with that being said, we're gonna move to the number 1 spot, and that being Millie Alcock's Supergirl suit for her solo film coming out at the end of June. When I think of Supergirl, this is what I think of. They translated the Woman of Tomorrow design almost perfectly, but ultimately I feel like it works great and it fits the tone of the new DCU. But I will say the lines are a little too much, especially on the shoulders and biceps. It definitely makes the suit feel more over-designed compared to David Cornsweet's. And I really don't like saying that because this suit shouldn't feel over-designed. But minus those lines, I don't really have any gripes with the suit. I love the new skirt, I love the blue. The colors on the suit pop amazingly. But yeah, that was my list. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop them. Honestly, I really enjoyed Supergirl. It wasn't the greatest movie ever, but it was a fun movie to watch. But I still believe that the suit we got in the movie is the best one we've seen on the screen so far. And with that being said, we're gonna move on to our last Marvel ranking in this video, and that is ranking every single live-action Punisher suit. There have been quite a few throughout the years, and there's some very interesting takes on the characters. So let's start off in last place with Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. This movie had come out in the 80s, and for some reason, they were too big of cowards to put the skull on the shirt. Frank does not have a skull at all anywhere throughout this entire film. So much so to where a VFX artist went in and digitally added it in, and it looks so much better. I don't know why they were afraid to do it, especially with it being the 80s. If there was a time and a place to get away with it and to do it, it was then, not now. It's just a little weird that they just totally disregarded that fact, and it also was not very faithful to the comics in any regard. That seems to kind of be a trend here with a couple of these films, but it was our first Punisher, so I'll take it. Moving on to the next spot, we have Ray Stevenson's Punisher from Punisher Warzone. R.I.P. Ray Stevenson, you are missed. This was without a doubt the most brutal we've ever seen the Punisher on screen. This movie was absolute chaos, and his suit was really good. I really like it. It felt way more armored and more like SWAT gear than anything else. This was the most gruesome I think we've ever seen the Punisher, and still to this day I don't think has really been topped. There's not really a whole much to say. This is just a black tactical suit with the skull on the chest. It looks great. Jigsaw also in this movie looked great.
Nice shooter!
Alrighty, moving on to Thomas Jane's Punisher. We have two suits to talk about. It's kind of the same one, but I'm gonna count it as two different ones. And that being his trench coat look that we saw throughout the beginning of the movie, and then towards the end where we see him without the trench coat with the actual body armor with the skull. Both of these look great, and also we gotta talk about the 1911s, both having the skulls on them. These were sick. I wish we'd get a little bit more of this in the MCU. Thomas Jane's Punisher, without a doubt, is one of the best adaptations we've gotten. Once again, like the rest of these, it isn't totally accurate, but he's a goddamn great Punisher, and I love him. Alrighty, now moving on to John Bernthal, we have 7 suits here. There probably is more, but I'm being very selective with these. The first one being where he ambushes all the guys in him and Micro's lair from Punisher Season 1. This look for him was sick. It was very short-lived, but I'm glad we got it. And now moving on, we have his appearance in Daredevil Season 2. Specifically, when he leaves his house and ends up blowing it up, and he has the minigun with the trench coat. This is one of my favorite looks for John Bernthal, and it's a shame we barely got to see this look. I think we saw it a handful of times after this. Now moving on to his look in Daredevil Born Again Season 1. John Bernthal, I don't really think has a whole lot of bad Punisher suits. They all kind of just look roughly the same, but this one is pretty cool, and also we got to team up with him in Daredevil, so that's gonna give us some brownie points as well. I know I'm biased, it is what it is. Now we're gonna go on to his suit from Punisher Season 2, and this is gonna be the suit that he has at the very end, where he says, "I'll dance with you."
I'll dance with you.
Everything that I love about the Punisher is in this suit, and it looks great. Down to the trench coat, to the skull, to both of his ARs. Like, it just, yeah, it's awesome. I wish we got to stick with this suit for the entirety of his run in the MCU up until now. Next, we have the final suit that we see in the Punisher One Last Kill special presentation that just came out in Disney+. It's great, by the way. Go ahead and watch it. I like a lot of things about this suit, but there's also some things that turned me off of it, and that being the Punisher has a fresh fade, and he has a beard. I don't like both of these looks for him. I do like his normal hairstyle that he had throughout Season 1 and Season 2, but I will say him having the fade along with like the groomed beard, it also looks like they dyed his hair to get rid of any gray hairs. It just looks a little too put together for John Bernthal's Punisher, in my opinion, but I like the skull, I like the suit. I also love that his knife goes right into the teeth of the skull itself. That's pretty sick. And also too, him having the tomahawk on his back, I gotta love it. Second to last, we have his new look from Spider-Man Brand New Day. So far in the trailers, it hasn't wowed me just yet. His skull looks very very odd here, and honestly that's because China doesn't allow skulls in any of their marketing or stuff when it comes to distributing movies, so they have to tone it down a lot, and that's why it looks the way it does. It looks more like the anti-vigilante task force skulls that we saw in Daredevil Born Again Season 1. But I will say though, it is a pretty nice looking suit. And now finally, we have his suit from Punisher One Last Kill once again, but this is his suit in the flashbacks whenever we see him acting as the Punisher killing the Nushi crime family. This should have been his suit that he got at the end of the special. This is literally the perfect Punisher suit that we've ever gotten, and it's a shame that we're probably not going to see it again. I really hope we get a second special with him and get to see more of this because it is literally perfect. But that is my ranking for all the live action Punishers and their suits. I do love almost every single one of these Punisher actors and their movies themselves. Minus Dolph Lundgren, he's a great actor, but not a great Punisher. I could watch any of these films right now and be hooked, and that's how you know that this character is pretty great, because no matter how many times he's told throughout media, he usually is done pretty fucking well. Well, all being said, I'd love to hear your lists in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop them. And now finally, at our last ranking, we're gonna jump back to the DC section one last time and rank every single live action Green Lantern suit. There are some very interesting ones on here, just like the Punisher ones. In this video, there are suits from the 70s up until now, so without further ado, let's start off with our honorable mentions. Now, I don't even know if I'm gonna count these two as honorable mentions because we don't actually see them in a suit. I'm still gonna mention these though because I know I'm gonna get comments about them. And that being Jenny, aka Jade from Stargirl Season 2, and she never got a suit. We only saw her use the ring a couple of times. Next, we have Alan Scott from Season 9 of Smallville. Again, this is another one of those, we never saw him in the suit. We did see him having the ring on. We did get a tease at the end of that episode though, where we saw his mask, we saw his ring, as well as his power battery, and that was it. And now under our real honorable mentions, we have Obsidian from DC's Legends of Tomorrow. He isn't in the Green Lantern Corps, but he's part of the Lantern family with Jade, as well as Alan Scott, so I figured I'd still mention him and his suit. I really like the suit that he has, but to me the downside is the leather. I don't know what it is, I'm just a big hater of leather superhero suits, especially when it's not done right. I'm looking at you, Arrow. Now onto our final honorable mention, we have Sinestro from the 1979 Legion of Superheroes 2-part TV special. He does have two suits in this, one being the purple with the baby blue, and then we also see a red and purple variant of this, which to be honest with you, I think I prefer the red and purple variant over the purple and blue, but I like these designs. They're comic accurate, they're simple, and they're definitely from their time. They're dated for sure, and I don't think they hold up to any other suits on this list. Alrighty, moving on to the main list, we have Hal Jordan's suit from the Legion of Superheroes special that I had just mentioned. Along with Sinestro's design, this suit doesn't really hold up today, but it's extremely accurate and I love how it looks. I also can't believe that we actually got the white gloves. This might be one of the only suits on this list that actually has them incorporated, so it's gonna get some brownie points from me because of that. And for the time, I'm sure that fans were pleased with this design. Next, at the number 9 spot, we have Guy Gardner's blue suit. Yes, you did hear me right. It's blue. This is from the 1997 Justice League of America pilot that really didn't go anywhere after this. And for the time, I'm really surprised that we have a Green Lantern in this. We have Guy Gardner out of all the Green Lanterns too, which is cool, but his suit is blue. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. And I don't even know if they did either, because in the marketing, they had it switched to look green. With that though, Guy does have the white gloves, which I love. He also has his leather jacket with the sleeves cut off. And for some reason, he has a Kyle Rayner looking mask. And if you look closely, you can also tell here that he is wearing a black turtleneck. I'm not kidding. And the suit really stands out against those green constructs. I don't know why they just didn't stick with the green. And for this being Guy Gardner, we didn't get his classic bowl cut. Lastly, I don't know what their plan was with this Green Lantern logo. It looks very off to me. Moving on to the number 8 spot, we have John Diggle's unused Green Lantern suit from the Arrowverse. I wish we could have got to see this on screen. I hate that we only have it in concept art. If DC would have gotten their shit together with the rights, we could have gotten to see this. At the same time though, it was the CW, so I don't know if I trust them to do it right. With that being said, I don't really like this suit, but as far as modern suits go, and I use that term loosely, this isn't the worst thing ever. I really hate the leather jacket though, as well as the helmet and the gun. The boots and pants are okay, I guess, but again, just not at all what I would have wanted for a Green Lantern suit. The one thing I do like about this though is the shade of green that they had used, but that's really about it. At the number 7 spot, and in a giant leap forward, we have Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner suit from Superman as well as Peacemaker. This suit was literally so close to being perfect, and they f***ed it up. I don't know how, but they did. I don't really like this design. I understand why it is the way it is. It's a uniform like Mr. Terrific and Hot Girls for Maxwell Lord's Justice Gang. It has the Lortec logo. They're all supposed to look unified and together. I totally get it, and I'm behind that full-heartedly. I'm also okay with the use of leather here, which is weird. I normally am not. And I also really love the green and white with this, but there is an edit out there online of what the suit could have, or maybe even should have looked like, and I can't help but feel kind of robbed. Like, this is literally perfect. One of my biggest gripes with Guy Gardner in the DCU was his bowl cut. It's almost strawberry blonde, not even ginger. Can we please just get him his actual hair color? I don't want to seem like a hater here. I really love James Gunn's Superman and his DCU so far, and I really love Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I just feel like they missed the mark with the suit entirely. And if we would have gotten all this from the get-go, I don't think fans would have complained at all about how he looked. Again, I don't hate the suit though. I like it for what it is, and I understand why we have it. Moving on to the number 6 spot, we have Yellinger's suit from Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really love the look of this suit. It takes inspiration from how he looks in the comics and updates it and translates it almost perfectly without overdoing it. He is pretty goofy and a pretty goofy looking Green Lantern in the comics, but they did him justice in a Snyder cut. It wasn't over the top, and honestly this redesign really worked for me. I love the cape, I love the shiny metal look, while also incorporating the scaly skin texture that he had in the comics, but actually for the armor on his bodysuit. Also, we gotta talk about that Lantern logo coming out of the chest. This is so sick. I'm so glad we got this. And then moving on to the number 5 spot, we have Hal Jordan's suit from Lanterns. We just got our first real look at the suit in Monday's teaser 2 trailer, and it looks a lot better from when it was hanging up in the closet. We can tell here that it's actually not brown, it's olive green. And with that, we also had a flashback shot in the trailer, and you could tell that it's really green here. It's vibrant, it's saturated. I guarantee this is gonna be the classic Green Lantern suit. And over time, it's probably gonna become more dirty and darker and get that olive green that we've seen in this trailer. Kyle Chandler had also said that Hal Jordan will have his mask. We haven't seen it yet, but we're gonna get it, which is awesome. As well, we're probably gonna see him in multiple suits. We know he has multiple ones hanging up from that first teaser, so we're probably gonna see the evolution of this suit. Before you go to the comments talking about how this isn't comic accurate and the suit manifests itself from the ring, I mean, you're right, it does. But also, it can be hung up and taken off. We've seen it before. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this up on the screen right now. We can see behind Hal Jordan here, his suit hanging up in a clothes hanger in his closet. Yes, the ring can manifest the suit and make it, but also sometimes it can be taken off and hung up like normal clothes, which I really like. I'd rather have a practical suit that can be hung up and worn on set than having an actor walking around in the mocap suit. We've seen the fully CG suits in the MCU, we don't need it here. Hopefully though, people will stop complaining with this. I don't think it's a big deal. Moving on to the number 4 spot, we have a combination of 2 suits, and that being the Green Lantern suits from George Miller's canceled Justice League Mortal. The first one we have here is not worn by Common. From what I was able to gather, he was not available for the costume fitting for this, so they had to stand in for it, and you can tell. This guy's white, he has black hair, this definitely is not Common. And then here is the second suit. And take this with a giant grain of salt, please. It took me forever to actually find this. It very well could be fan-made, and it's literally perfect. Almost too perfect. And that's why I'm kind of thinking this very well could be fake. So again, please take this with a grain of salt. And with that, I want to move back to the first suit that we had seen, just because this is a real photo. We know that this suit is real. And with this concept art one, I have no clue if it actually is or not. Alrighty, I love the black and green with this suit. They did it perfectly, along with how they incorporated the boots. The one thing that's leaving me scratching my head is, what are these bracers on his wrist? These are kind of gold looking, and I don't know what they were doing here. They could have just given him the white gloves, or not. I don't know why he had these on. But besides that, I think the suit is kind of peak. I love almost everything about it, and it's a shame we're never going to see this come to the light of day. Moving on to the number 3 spot, we have Ryan Reynolds' suit from Green Lantern 2011. I never understood the hate for this suit. The movie, sure, I have a lot of issues with it, but they also did a lot for the Green Lantern lore and incorporating that and showing it on screen, which is something that we haven't really gotten since. I'm hoping Lanterns will incorporate more of those elements. And for a suit that's being manifested by a ring, this is awesome. It feels exactly like that. This doesn't feel like a real practical suit like the Lanterns one, and that's because this is entirely CG. It was never real to begin with. But with that, this suit feels like it's a living organism. We can literally almost see it breathing. I wish we could have got the white gloves with this suit, as well as not making his toes outlined. I don't know why they did that. He could have just had boots, but we never really see it, so it's not really a big complaint on my end. This suit also kind of emits like a green aura around Ryan Reynolds when he's flying, and I don't think we're getting this anymore with Lanterns, which kind of sucks. I love this in the DCAU with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I wish we would get this again, but I understand why we're not. A lot of the hate for this movie is justified. I don't think the hate for the suit is. This is exactly how a Green Lantern suit should feel, in my opinion. It isn't perfect, but they definitely didn't f it up either. Moving on to the number 2 spot, we have yet again another fully CG suit, and that being Wayne T. Carr's suit from the Snyder Cut. This suit is insane, especially for being a fully CG one. It looks real. I know it's a photo, but it looks real and practical. They have the green and black here without it being too over top, without it being leather, and it doesn't look like a metallic metal either like Iron Man. I really love this suit. It's a shame we never got to see this in the movie. I'm glad we got Martian Manhunter's cameo at the end, but I really wish the original version with this cameo would have stayed. And with this Green Lantern logo, we can see here it's a lot like Yelland's, how it's projected outward, and I really like how it looks. And with the suit, there isn't any gloves at all, but at the end of the day, that's fine. This suit works perfectly for me as well. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have Mark Strong's suit as Sinestro in 2011's Green Lantern. I'm also talking about his suit at the end of the film, but I'm also going to talk about his main one. This takes Ryan Reynolds' suit and improves it in every way. I love how the torso looks with the belt. It feels very Spider-Man-esque. There's still a lot of lines everywhere, but it doesn't feel over the top. And honestly, it feeling like it's alive is toned down a little bit, and it really works. Also too, he has a collar here, it's sick. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. And weirdly enough, it also feels a little bit more form-fitting. And to be honest, my real pick is honestly his Yellow Lantern suit at the end, not this green one. This is perfect. I couldn't ask for a better Sinestro suit. Hopefully we get one of Lanterns, but this is awesome. It's a shame Mark Strong never got to reprise his role as Sinestro. but at the same time, he's got to play like 3 or 4 DC villains. I don't really think he's complaining all that much. I know the suit won't be everyone's favorite, and that's fine. This is my list. And like I said with the previous suit, I keep going back and forth between these two. I can't really decide. Tomorrow it'll be Wayne, and the next day it'll be Sinestros, and I'll be back to Wayne's. I honestly just can't make up my mind. But with all that being said, that was my ranking. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Go ahead and drop it. Thank you all so much for watching this marathon while I was away. I'll be back next week with a brand new ranking, and if you've made it all the way, you're officially one of the real ones. Go ahead and comment real ones down below. I want to see how many of you actually made it through. I really don't know how everyone's gonna feel about this video. I don't know if I'm gonna make more of them in the future. This was just an idea I had, and if you do want to see more of these marathons, let me know in the comments down below which superheroes in their suits that you would like to be ranked. I'm always open to suggestions, and honestly, I'm more than glad to do them. But with all that being said, it's been Caden or Cantina Comics, and I will see you all in the next one.